out of apartment 5B.
You're now tuned into the Apartment 5B podcast, where we chop it up about hip-hop, R&B, sports, love and life. Hosted by Kill.
Yourself and your soul together. This man will make your liver quiver.
What's good? You are tuned to Apartment 5B, hosted by your man, Kill. I got my squad with me, in effect, as always. Always ladies first. Porsche, what's going on, miss? Everything is good. Everybody knows, well, prayerfully, if you rock with Apartment 5B, we try to get in a podcast once a month with my brothers from Man Knows Hip Hop. You know what I mean? We got Easton and Slack. It's in the UK. It's the time difference, so they can't never make the Thursday show. So this is how important these brothers are to me, that we make a whole fucking day just to get them on so we can chop it up. Easton, what's going on, good brother?
Very good as always, man. Appreciate the invitation, man. Blessed to be here, man. What's good, everyone? Oh,
man, everybody is good. Slack, what's good, baby?
As Easton said, bro, massive appreciation and love to everybody on Apartment 5B. And we're just out here, bro. We're just chilling, you know.
Now, here's the funny thing that people may not know. Slack is the funniest nigga I know on Twitter. There are a lot of funny niggas. This nigga by far is the funniest nigga. Not just in the UK. I'm talking the funniest nigga on Twitter. This nigga keeps me rolling every fucking day. So if you don't follow anybody and you just need laughter in your life, we all need some joy. Like, we all need joy in our life on the timeline. You get tired of the liquid swords, only built for Cuban link arguments. This is the dude that you need to follow right there. My good brother, Ill Fam, from the Where's Buffy podcast. Baltimore brethren, going back to our 88.9 days on EAA. What's going on, good brother?
Oh, man, things are well, man. Our podcast is 9 to 5 all the time, and with family, man. So I don't have any sleep left.
I hear you, good brother. Now let's do this for a minute, because all of my guests today have extremely dope podcasts. And what I love about them is they all fill a void that I feel like is missing in the podcast game. Like, you know, I was telling fam the other day, like if I had what him and his brothers do with Where's Buffy, and I don't even want to explain it. You explain it, fam. What is Where's Buffy? Where did the name come from? It's funny because I thought you and Porsche knew each other, and I was like, "Yo, my man from Where's Buffy's gonna be on," and she like hit me like, "Okay, Kill, who's on this week? We got a Vampire Slayer, and we got." I'm like, "No, not Buffy the Vampire Slayer. No, not that Buffy. We're talking about Where's Buffy, as in the Fat Boys." But break down what Where's Buffy, what it's all about, what you guys do.
Okay, so Where's Buffy started with me and my brother Diz, and we just, you know, we were in-laws, and two big fellas, man, and we always kind of butted heads on opinion and hip hop and otherwise. And he was like, "Yo, let's do a podcast," and he was like, "Yeah, it was a podcast," and I explained it to him, and we started, you know, we started kind of you know, fleshing the show out. He's like, "What do we call it?" I was like, "Well, I'm a big dude, you're a big dude." You know what I'm saying? You got two fat guys. Where's the third fat boy? Where's Buffy? And that's the concept of the name. But it's hip hop and black culture based from a watch perspective. Basically, with a comedic edge. I mean, everything is jokes with us.
Yeah, no doubt. And I love it, bro, because it's just, again, y'all intros alone are like legendary. Like y'all, if y'all watch wrestling, like the Ric Flair intro, this is what they do every week. It's amazing to me. I don't know how they remember this shit, but very, very dope podcast. So, Ill Fam, let them know where to follow you, where to follow the podcast, everything.
Hey, man, IllFam79 on your social media choice. At Where's Buffy on all social media. At Black Wrestling on all social media. At Something Else Pod. Something, no G, because I'm all the G you need. You know what I'm saying?
This is exactly what I'm talking about when I mean by the intro, bro. Like, I don't know how y'all remember that. I'm sorry. Keep going, brother. I'm sorry. Talk about Black Wrestling, too. I'm sorry. I forgot about that joint.
So Black Wrestling is a show where we just it's a black pro wrestling podcast. There are a million pro wrestling podcasts, but there wasn't when we started a bunch of outlets that talked about pro wrestling from a cultural perspective. And we kind of, watched it when there was only one nigga allowed on TV. And now there's mad niggas and niggas be the champion. It's lovely.
You ain't never lied, bro, because that's my wrestling background is the Junkyard Dog, the Coco Bewares, that. Yeah, exactly. So, you know what I mean? I definitely get that. Now, Easton and Slack, talk a little bit about Man Knows Hip Hop.
Slack, you want to go?
Yeah, Man Knows Hip Hop podcast once a week. We'll hit you off with a new topic, or we'll hit you off with a review. Just me and Easton just going back and forth, just as we would do in the barbershop, in the youth club, in college, in the dorms, whatever. Just going back and forth about new music, talking about anything from hip hop, man. We cover the whole gamut, and we've had a really good response, man, since we started, and we haven't even been going for a year yet. I think we started in August. Was it August, bro, that we started?
Yeah, August, yeah.
Yeah, man. So it's been going so well. We've really been appreciating the love and the support from everybody. So blessed to everybody that's tuned into the podcast. And I keep going, man. So find us at the Man Knows Hip Hop Podcast at MKHH Podcast. Myself, I'm at Slack Supremacy on Twitter. And E, you want to go, man?
Yeah, man. And then Eastern Major, I'm on Twitter as well. Like Slack said, man, we're just chopping it up about hip hop. And from honest opinions, man, and a lot of what we talk about, you know what I mean? We don't really tie down what we're going to be talking about on the topic. We might just say, let's chop up about this, throw out a couple of ideas. So it is just like an organic conversation that we're having as well. And that's the theme, the feel that we wanted. And yeah, like Slack said, man, it's got a good response. And we're having fun with it, man. We're enjoying it, man. We love talking about hip hop. So yeah, really appreciate everyone that's checked us out and stuff, man. So yeah, man.
No doubt. Y'all know me. Let's jump right into it. I was watching Drink Champs one day, the whole Quick Time with Slime. You know what I mean? I was like, I like this. I don't watch every episode because Noah's a lot to handle sometimes. So I usually only watch it depending on who what the guests are. But a lot of times he always has the same Quick Time with Slimes. Like it's always the same people. Like he may flip it for a little bit, and I'm like, okay. So what we're gonna be doing this week is Quick Time with Slime, but a 5B version, because of course I don't drink and I don't know if everybody else has shots around. I don't want to get people pissy drunk on here. What we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be saying, here's an example. I would say Big or J. I would go, well, I've got Slack just took a shot, so we're good. Well, not a shot, but wine. I literally know nothing about liquor. Like I could just sit up under people. I don't understand it at all. I'm totally oblivious to liquor. I don't know anything. My job took me to like a winery one day, and I was fucking lost. I was like, I'll just get a ginger ale. Like I'm good over here. Just sat and chill. But so I would say Big versus J. Who do you have? Easton can only answer with one word. So maybe he'd want to say something like flow. And then he could go on to explain why he chose that person. He could say flow for Jay, and then he could explain that. But we're gonna only try to use one word or a song title. So he may want to say Dead Presidents. Okay, well boom. Why did Dead Presidents resonate to you to pick Jay over Big? So we're gonna try this out. This is gonna be fun. I got some good stuff. Y'all are watching this. This shit is some pilot episode. This shit could go real good. It could go real bad. I don't know. But we're going to try it out. Porsche, ladies first. You want to set us off?
Sure. With one of mine?
Yeah.
Okay. I got Doggy Style or Chronic. I know this is a little bit TL-ish, but I thought those two are like neck and neck. So.
Okay. I'm gonna go first, and I'm gonna say funk, and my answer would be the Chronic. I love Doggy Style to death, but Chronic is that's just one of those albums for me personally, like just nothing to me. That's like Dre. It was just an incredible album. You know what I mean? We did a show about, is it a solo album? Because it's basically, Dre, Dogg Pound, Rage, Snoop, everybody. But my answer would be funk, and I'm gonna go with the Dogg Pound. Easton, what you got for that one?
Life changing, double barrel words. I'm cheating, but yeah, life changing. Reason I'm gonna say that is because, and that's for Doggy Style. Sorry, and that's my second favorite hip hop album of all time.
I see it in the background right there.
That's it right there, man. It's literally. So for me, it blew my mind. I mean, Chronic's an incredible album, and I think, you know, it's probably sonically better than Doggy Style. But for me, Doggy Style, I was about probably 12, 13 years old when that dropped, and man, it was one of the first albums I memorized completely, every word, every song. It was always playing, you know what I mean? It was always in my headphones, always playing in my house, well, in my bedroom, because my parents heard me listening to most of that anyway. But yeah, Doggy Style for me, that's going to be an easy one. Yeah.
All right, no doubt. Slack, what you got?
The whole time you guys are talking, I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. If gun to my head, I'd have to go with Doggy Style. And the one word I'd choose is... Oh man, this is tough. Fakes Porsche. No, I'm gonna switch it. I'm gonna go with Chronic, and I'm gonna go with Introduction. And the reason I use the word introduction is because that introduced us to everybody that was on Death Row. Snoop, Dog Pound, Corrupt. Everyone was on the album from Death Row, and that really kind of set the tone for what was to come for Death Row. So I'm gonna go with the Chronic.
All right, fam, what you got, good brother?
I'm gonna go Doggy Style, and the word I'm gonna use is consistency. Because it's actually the exact opposite of what Slack was saying. It did introduce us to 7 million people from Death Row Records. The consistency of knowing what to expect lyrically from each song was so great. I loved the production, it was cool, but the raps were great throughout. So I'll say consistency on Doggy Style.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, what do you have?
I have Doggy Style, and my word is fun. And the reason for that is, ever out the gate, when I heard Doggy Style, like, it was always, mind you, I'm Persian. I have a Persian dad. I wasn't really allowed to listen to Doggy Style out loud. Like, that album's very explicit, but it was very fun. So I often found myself, like, just like 36 Chambers, like, go somewhere else and listen to it. So no parents allowed. And so, yeah, for me, it was just always a fun album to listen to all the way through. So Doggy Style fun.
All right. I got a joint here. This may be tough. I got De La or Gangstar. Porsche.
God, you really had to come here first. I'm gonna go Gangstar and Production. It's Primo. Primo at his Primo can't miss. You guys know he's fused in my number one spot. So it's gonna be tough to beat Gangstar when they're up against anybody. So for me, yeah, Gangstar and Production.
All right, Easton, what's going on, bro?
Anybody knows me knows this is an easy one for me. So it's definitely going to be Gangstar. The one word is also going to be Primo. Just like Porsche, I'm my favorite producer of all time. But to be honest, though, probably anyone could be up against De La, and I probably would have chose the other person.
I forgot you're not a big De La dude. Right.
Obviously, no disrespect to them. Their legacy cemented, but yeah, definitely Gangstar for me. That's an easy one for me.
All right, no doubt. Fam, what you got?
DJ Premier is also my favorite producer of all time. So I'm gonna go with De La Soul, and my word is longevity.
This dude started off with Primo's my favorite, but you know, I'm gonna go De La. I'm going the opposite way over here. Right.
I was like, wait, what?
Right. No, the quality of an album like The Grind Date so far from when 3 Feet High and Rising comes out kind of speaks to like you've been able to be successful sonically through multiple eras. So yeah, De La is one of my favorites.
All right, no doubt. Slack, what you got?
Yeah, I gotta go with Gangstar on this one, and the word I'm gonna use is catalog. Gangstar is one of those catalogs that you will struggle to pick a favorite album. You know what I mean? If you're gonna go from Hard to Earn, or you're gonna go for Daily Operation, all of those albums are just so high quality. It's so difficult for me to say that I have a favorite. Moment of Truth is so good. production wise. Guru sounds better on the album, but Hard to Earn has joints like Code of the Streets, like Mass Appeal, that are just undeniable. And then you listen to Daily Operation and that album just flows from top to bottom. You just don't skip a song on Gangstar albums, man. So discography for me, gotta be Gangstar.
Alright, here's the funny part with me. The first word that comes to mind when I think of Gangstar is Brooklyn. The hard part is neither one of these niggas is from fucking Brooklyn. Like, that's the problem right there. You know what I mean? So that's the crazy part. So we gotta have to do a whole other show on that. Like, how the fuck did we let a boy from Texas and a boy from Boston claim a borough? Better yet, I want to get Brooklyn niggas on here because I'm like, how did y'all let them just get away with that? And my only assumption is just because they were that dope.
They were that good.
Because to me, if they was the K9 posse, niggas would have been like, nah, man, stop talking about Brooklyn. Stop with the store. You know, stop with the planet. Stop with the place where we dwell. Because when you listen to the place where we dwell, there's no way you could not think they weren't from Brooklyn.
Right.
I've never seen somebody not be from someplace but big that place up. Well, Ludacris with Atlanta because I heard he's not from Atlanta. But you would think he was from Atlanta because he shouts out the A all the time. You know what I mean? And I think a lot of times people, certain places, I'll tell you this, Philly, we don't do that shit. Because Kobe, we don't even claim Kobe, who many say is the greatest of all time. And we don't even claim that nigga. You know what I mean? So I think...
Do you claim Corrupt?
I don't claim Corrupt, but not out of a bad way, but just because when I think of Corrupt, it's kind of like this show. First thing that comes to mind is LA, you know, is West Coast. Yeah, but it's not because he's not dope, but it's just like when I just think Corrupt, the first thing that comes to mind is LA. And I know he's from Philly, but when I hear him spit, he doesn't spit like really like a Philly MC. Like he's not saying anything about Philly. Like I don't know how we found out he was from Philly, but I don't think it was in any of his songs.
That's the thing. That's the same thing here with Gangstar.
Right.
You don't hear Houston or Boston. I don't know what Boston sounds like. House of Pain. But
Ed O.G. Because when I heard Ed O.G., I remember hearing I Gotta Have It, and I didn't think it just sounded hip. But back in those days, hip hop just sounded hip hop. So
yeah, true.
I think Gangstar was staying in Brooklyn for a little while though, weren't they? But
I mean, they stayed in the Bronx, they stayed in Brooklyn, all those places. But again, most people don't allow you to claim their city. Especially Brooklyn, especially New York niggas. We all know some New York niggas. These are some of the most, I love New York niggas, but they're some of the most arrogant people in the fucking world. You know what I mean? So again, I think it just goes back to if you're dope enough, then I guess, you know, they'll accept you. But so yeah, my answer is Gangstar. And it just was kind of crazy because I'm like, Brooklyn, like that would be the word I use if they're not from Brooklyn. So Easton, what's the first one you got up, good brother?
Okay, so I'm gonna go for an album this time, yeah. So I'm gonna go with CNN's War Report versus Mobb Deep's Murder Music.
Ooh, okay, Porsche, you want to take that first? I'm doing ladies first, but if I'm putting you on the spot going first, you know.
Oh no, it's all good. I'm gonna go with CNN, but I don't know the word. That's the only problem. Damn. I'm stuck for a word. I'll say track list for lack of a better word. And the reason for that is the CNN War Report for me is a very dope album. Like I love that album, and I think Noriega actually carried that one more so than for obvious reasons. And for me, the track list is very strong. That album is not talked about enough for what it was at the time, and yeah, so track list for me, War Report.
For me, the funny thing is I would go War Report, and I would say Queens. Because that it just sounded Queens to me, but then the same with Mobb Deep. So if I would have to use a lifeline on this one and go with a song, I would go with Blood Money. Like Blood Money, I could play Blood Money forever. So you know, I'm gonna have to pull a lifeline with that one. Slack, what you got for that?
For that one, I think I'm gonna have to go with Murder Music, and that's not in any way to discredit War Report because that album was definitely one of my favorites in '97. But the reason I'm gonna go with Murder Music is simply because of what's the song with Kool G Rap absolutely
realist?
Realist. So the
yeah.
word I'm going to use is realist, because Cool G's verse on that song, come on. I mean, you could play that verse just over and over again and still be catching stuff that Cool G drops on that verse, man.
That's a tough
And the
line.
crazy thing about that joint too is that I don't know the year. I'm assuming this is Murder Music. Got to be like 97, 98. G-Rap came out.
Came out
99. G-Rap came out in 89. So it's like the fact that your bars are still that crazy 10 years later, bro. That joint and the Alchemist beat, like, yeah, the realist is
crazy.
Stupid. Fam, what you got on this one, bro?
I'm gonna go to War Report, and the word I'll use is impact. I went to high school about 15 minutes outside of Baltimore on an army base called Fort Meade. And on Fort Meade, the cars riding around. That whole time when that album was out is War Report out of every single car. And the impact that album had just on really suburb kids and kids from everywhere. I can imagine from an actual urban setting where niggas was out on a block. I know it went crazy there. So yeah, impact.
All right, no doubt. Easton, what you got for this, bro?
Definitely War Report for me, man. And the word I'm going to use is refreshing. The reason I say that, love Mobb Deep, one of my favorite group in hip hop. But obviously they dropped, what's this, like their third album at the time, fourth if you're counting the first one. So yeah, fourth album. So it might be a bit unfair doing a fourth, we get to debut. But with no disrespect to Mobb Deep, we all love Mobb Deep. But I felt like with Mobb Deep at that point, that was a brilliant album in their run, but I think they were beginning to feel a bit samey at that point. And I felt like when War Report dropped, it was almost like a refreshing it was like having a new Mobb Deep all over again, you know what I mean? Two MCs from Queens or what have you. It felt like experiencing Infamous again. That's how War Report felt for me, and I love the album. So yeah, I'm gonna go War Report on that one.
All right, no doubt. Slack, what you got up for us now, man?
Oh, okay. So I decided to put two brothers against each other on this one, and I took their debut album. So Method Man's Tikal versus Redman's What the Album.
Porsche.
No, don't come to me first for this one.
For me, this is Oh, you good, Porsche?
No, come back.
No. All right, this is easy for me. What the album, and the word would be freshman year, which was this album dropped my freshman year at Morgan State in '92, and similar to what Fam was just saying about the War Report, everybody was playing what? Everybody was smoking weed. That album just, it was everywhere. This is still back in the days, young folk watching, when we had answering machines and we would actually leave messages like, yo, you missed Kill, yo, I ain't here, yo, leave a message at you. I know this new generation don't know nothing about that, but everybody would have Redman on in the background, everybody. And then being Morgan is such a New York, Jersey, Philly, Baltimore, DC school. That's it. So everybody from Jersey was just championing this. So yeah, I'm going with this joint. Porsche, you good, or you want to come around last?
I'm gonna go. Again, I love Redman and I love Redman's albums. I think he has one of the best 3 album runs, but I'm going to Cal, and my word is videos. And the reason for that is because for me, I talk about this kind of on Apartment 5B sometimes. We had Rap City for 25 minutes, if that, at midnight. So that's when I got to watch videos that were dropping. And I remember the Bring the Pain video and the Release Your Death video. Those were so memorable for me at the time. So I think it's a bit of nostalgia there. But I absolutely love those videos. Those songs are great. I know Kill Your anti singles and stuff like that, but
no, not at all. No, I'm not anti-single. I just think a lot of times one of my homegirls would always get on me when she'd be like, yo, what's your favorite? I didn't know a lot about R&B growing up like that because my mom's is a jazz musician, so more jazz was played in the house. So when I'd say stuff like Ribbon in the Sky is my favorite Stevie Wonder song, she's like, nigga, fucking what? Find a B-side, find something else on it. So I'm not against singles, not at all. It's just when a woman checks you on your musical knowledge, it just makes me kind of be like, okay, shit, I gotta get my shit together. So it's like, I love the singles, but I always am like, folk, like people will be like, yo, I'm a Prince fan and never heard an album just because his songs are so big. So I'm just always challenging folk like, okay, well, give me a B-side or give me something else. But I'm not against singles at all. Not at all. Especially in these days, because a lot of times the singles were some of the dopest songs.
Yeah, so for me, it's those, and it's the videos that came along with those tracks, and it just still to this day, I love those videos. So Cal videos.
All right, well, before we get off this one, we're gonna come back to some shit I started last Sunday with the Tecalian Stallion. So we're gonna chop it up about that real quick. Easton, what do you have? Tecal or what?
What the album for me? Once again, another easy one. And the word I'm going to use is going to be fun. Because Redman, when that album dropped, when he came out, when he dropped the singles, he was excited, man. It was fun. You wanted to hear more. And then when the album dropped, it didn't disappoint at all. I think it's an incredible album, man. My second favorite from Redman. Still, I was listening to it probably a couple of weeks ago. It don't miss, man. Incredible album. I'll let you say what you was going to say. But for me, Tecal was disappointing in '94 when it dropped. I was bitterly disappointed. It's better now with time, but I was disappointed. So yeah, to put the two against each other is easy for me. Definitely what the album.
All right, fam, what you got?
Hey man, Easton just ran my pockets. Stole my thunder. My answer is Redman, and my word was disappointment. I swear. And it is what it is. The Tecal isn't whack, right? But the build up from Meth getting the lead single on 36 Chambers, the official single, not the protect your name, right. But like from Meth being who we thought he could be, and really lyrically and verse wise has been, is the draw in the clan, the star of the clan. He came out with that first album, and it wasn't good enough. Like, I always wanted more from Tecal, and it wasn't whack, but I was disappointed, man. It didn't stand up to what Reggie did with What the Album.
Right. Agreed. Slack, what you got, good brother?
Yeah, I gotta go with Redman as well. And the word I'm gonna use is breakthrough. That album, the same way you were saying, Kill, where it just had everyone buzzing. I must have been about 11, 12 when the album came out, something like that. Everybody at school was bumping the hell out of that Redman album, to the point you were memorizing every single skit, every little joke, the bit where he's talking in Korean and all that kind of stuff. We memorized that whole album from top to bottom. I still remember it to this day. It had such an impact on my life personally. Redman was my favorite artist throughout the 90s, pretty much. So I don't think Tecal holds the candles to that album, if I'm being completely honest.
Right.
Redman and Eric Sermon together, unbeatable duo, man. So
yeah, bro. Yeah. And the shit that happened last week, I don't know what started it, but basically it was about Tecal, and it was the same thing that Fam just said, and that I don't think it was a bad album. I could give it 3.5 mics. You know what I mean? It's an album I haven't listened to since the 90s. Like, I probably don't think I ever listened to it again since the year it dropped. You know what I mean? And it was all based off of, again, it's exactly what Fam was saying. If you weren't there of a certain age at that time, the build-up for that album was huge. Like, to me, it wasn't just about him being the face of the woo. It was about being the face of hip-hop. Like, this dude had it all. He had the bar. Niggas love Meth. You know what I mean? Whether you doing a half afro and half braids, whether the women love Meth. You know what I mean? Like, this dude was about, in my opinion, and the people that I was around, was about to be the Jerry West of hip hop. He was about to be the logo. And that never panned out. So when people are like, oh, well, nah, he panned out. And I'm like, he's panned out for acting. Like, that nigga wasn't on the cover of Essence for his last album he just dropped. He on the cover of Essence for Powerful 2. You know what I mean? Like, if we take that nigga sad card away, I don't even know if people even talking about Meth like that. I mean, but, so again, like Fam said, to me, it wasn't a whack album, but to me, it was, if people weren't there, Def Jam was doing so much, especially at HBCUs at that time with Month of the Man, and it was Redman and Method Man, and it was all this promo push for that. So the hype behind it was it was going to be There Is a Dark Side and Tecal, and we all know folk love There Is a Dark Side. You know what I mean? So I think that's just what it was. So it wasn't whack. And then I think too, on top of that, Meth I thought Meth was going to be the way we say who's the best MC, Biggie, Jay-Z, or Nas.
Right.
And I never hear Meth's name brought up like that. I also attribute that to, in my opinion, he doesn't have a 5 mic album either. Yeah. You know what I mean? But I think that's the thing. I'm realizing on Twitter and meeting folk who are younger that I totally get how somebody who was 10 at that time could think it's a dope album. You know what I mean? Because you don't know nothing about, like I said, you don't know nothing about the Month of the Man and how they were going from. They was at Morgan and we followed them down to Howard, and we would take road trips on 95. So the Month of the Man promo was so big. So again, not a whack album, but just not what I was expecting. And then, of course, somebody brought up the flood, and I'm still confused on these fucking floods. I'm like, I know there were multiple floods, but I didn't know that Meth's album was part of the flood, and we're not even going.
Yeah,
it was. Okay. But remember as well. Sorry, Push.
No, what were you saying, Slack?
I was gonna say, like, at that point in time, you got to remember as well, the expectations were up here, but we had artists that met that expectation. So when Snoop's expectation was there, he hit that. When Ready to Die was about to drop, and we had all the promo behind Ready to Die, big drop, and he hit the marker. So we were expecting the hype behind Meth. We were hoping that he was going to hit that marker too. So when the album dropped, and people were like, man, this ain't it. This just ain't it. It's good, it's okay, but it's not it's not a Ready to Die. It's not a Doggy style, you know what I mean?
And that's why I was telling people on the timeline, like, I expected Takao to be talked about 20 years later the way we talk about Cuban Links.
Right, exactly.
You know what I mean? And we don't. You know, we just don't.
The only problem with that, right, is that do our expectations ruin albums for us? So us, like, I want this album to be XYZ, and when it isn't, do we downgrade it? Like, it's like the converse of when, like, we're surprised by someone coming out with a really dope album. They get points because we didn't think it was going to be good.
Right.
So this, we thought it was going to be, goddamn, you know, Stillermatic or whatever. You know what I mean? We thought this was going to be greater than everything what we heard.
Right.
Is that part of our disappointment with this album? Are we too hard on Takao?
I don't think so, man, because I just gave you 2 examples of people that hit the marker. So it can definitely be done with the expectations being through the roof. I think what happened with Meth as well, Bring the Pain came out before the album dropped. So when we all heard Bring the Pain, we were like, yo, this is crazy.
Still,
if the album sounds anything like this is going to be out of here. And the fact that it didn't, that's what let the album down. And the thing about the album that's crazy for me is the singles were huge. Yeah. So from Bring the Pain, All I Need, which was out of here, like R&B and hip hop crossed over. No one really sold out. The video was crazy. Release Your Delf was crazy. You know what I mean? They had some really big singles on the album. But just as an album, it just didn't hit what the expectations were. But expectations
because the songs, because the track list, first of all, isn't only 4 tracks. It's more than that. And the misses were pretty disappointing. And I think it's the gap between the dope songs and the disappointing songs was very high. So it had fans very like, oh man, like there's nothing quite like, as you said, Slack, like there's nothing quite like Bring the Pain. You know what I mean? Yeah, there's just a lot of pieces on that album that I think people are just not kind of talking about.
Yeah. And I mean, I agree with you, fam, that, you know, the expectations can ruin it, but I also feel like Meth was an all-star. So it's almost like we're watching Steph Curry right now. He's carrying the Warriors. This is the first time that Clay ain't hooping the way he's Draymond, like he's but we expect that from him because you're a superstar. You know what I mean? So it's like Slack said, when Snoop hit the mark, when Nas hit the mark, when Big hit the mark, it's kind of like that. And again, we didn't have the internet back then. So at that time, I didn't know anything about a flood. I didn't know. So if now people are saying, well, these weren't the real songs, this was some old hurry up, we just got to put something together for Def Jam, then I almost feel like I got to put an asterisk on it then because God forbid if the masters from Illmatic got ruined and it was like, hey, hurry up, just come on and just throw it. We got to make something together real quick and just drop it. You know, and funny story, this is about Ill and Out Scratch's first album or EP. When I was doing 889, the label, the dude who was the rep for the label was telling me that, what was the joint? Me and My Homies. Whatever was their big song that blew up, they were like, yo, this is my homies. Yeah, Me and My Homies. They was like, yo, we got to put out an album right now. and them dudes had 7 days to make an album.
Yeah, I heard that. That's why
And that's the reason. Yeah, that's the reason why that album was such a disappointment. And it taught me, if you ever get a deal, don't drop shit until the album is done. So then that way, if they love the single, you want the album? Oh, here you go, right there. We've been working on it. But
what label was that?
Oh God, you're killing me with this one.
My bad.
No. I mean, my brain just sucks at 48. I'd have to look it up. But whatever, I remember that story because it always stuck with me. Because every time I work with an artist, I'd be like, "Yo, we're not dropping nothing until the whole album is done." So I never want to be ill and out scratched. I used to always say that. I never want to be put under the microscope to say you got 7 days to make an album because that's crazy. You know, Low End Theory, man, it took Tribe a year to make that album, and it sounded like it took time to make that album. You know? Right. And then you listen to that Ill and Out album, and I remember the disappointment in that, and it was like, damn, I really thought it was gonna be dope. You had me and my homies, you had Outtaker, and then it just, fell flat. But then when you hear the story of, well, they only had 7 days, it's like, well, fuck. So same thing with Meth. All the beats got ruined, and they had to do a real quick turnaround for Def Jam. Then I'd have to put an asterisk on it. Fam, what you got for your first joint, bro?
If you've tuned into any of the podcasts I do, you know my favorite rapper has to be involved, man. Fonte and Ceelo.
Shake my hand, brother.
Oh man. I mean, Porsche, you want to go first?
No.
All right. I'm just letting everybody know that my mother raised me right, so I'm always going to Porsche first as ladies first. But I don't want to keep putting her on the spot. I'll take it. Fonte. It's not a word, I guess it's a phrase, adult contemporary hip hop. And I feel like that's what's missing for folks once you crack a certain age, once you get married, once you have kids, once you're not in the streets as much as you used to be, and I always give props, like Redman said, because I'm cautious about lawsuits. It was Mr. Funky from Lords of the Underground who I heard that phrase for the first time, and I was like, yo, adult contemporary hip hop. Like, I like that. Growing up in Philly, you had Power 99, which played all the hip hop. You had WDAS that played the adult contemporary, Luther, Anita, Freddie Jackson, that type stuff like that. And it's like, yeah, we need some adult contemporary hip hop. I need some hip hop that speaks to where I am as a married man and having kids and living life, and that's Fonte. I mean, me and Fam were just talking about, to me, Fonte may be the dopest rapper post 2000 for me. And yes, I know about Kendrick, I know about Cole, I know about Drake, I know about all of them. Fonte to me is right there with all of them, so definitely Fonte. Porsche, you good, or you want me to come to you last?
No, I'm good.
Fonte is the nigga that Drake is based on, but keep going, I'm sorry.
No, 100% right. 100% right. I only get to say Drake
right now, fam. Let me follow you.
We only get to say Drake 3 times before Portia starts turning real red. So, because she really hates Drake, so we've already used 2. So we're gonna try to hold down one more usage of that word. But Portia, what you got?
I got Fonte, and my word is talent. And for me, Fonte is kind of like, well, it's his talent really, as a rapper and singer, and he kind of does it all, and that's evident in everything he's involved in. So, Fonte, talent.
All right, Easton, what you got?
I'm gonna actually go with Fonte as well, and the word I'm gonna use is gimmick. Let me just explain that. The reason being, this is no disrespect at all to Ceelo, but when Giddy Mob first came out, I always felt like Ceelo was a bit gimmicky for me, like in his appearance, his voice, and sometimes I think it took me a while. I think obviously I was younger when Giddy Mob first dropped, and then when you first, you hear more Ceelo. I want to say it took me a while before I began to actually take him seriously as an MC, even on Soul Food, and we know how impressive he is, but I'm just being honest, it took me a while. Whereas if I say, as soon as Little Brother dropped, you're like, this dude's heavy. Do you know what I'm saying? Now Ceelo I rate him highly, but if we're going, I've got to pick one, I'm going to say that's my reason. It took me a bit longer to get into Ceelo, so yeah, I'm going to go with Fonte for that.
All right, Slack, what you got?
Fonte all day, and the word I'm going to use is versatility. Now, I could sit here and talk about Fonte for an hour clean, and just you lot just have to mute and just let me go on and on. Because the thing about Fonte is, and like you said, Kill, for me, he's the guy of the 2000s for me. I started listening to Fonte when the listening dropped, so that was around 2003, 2004, and he's been pretty much my favorite MC since. So from what other MC can do a solo project? No news is good news, or charity starts at home. Then they can go and do a joint album with Little Brother, May the Lord Watch. Then they can go and do a foreign exchange album where they're just gonna sing throughout the whole album, and you might get 1 or 2 raps on there. Then they're gonna go and do an album with Eric Roberson. That's gonna be amazing also. Then they're gonna go and do a solo R&B album. Who else in hip hop can do that? Nobody. And
not only do it, but do it incredibly dope.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
Not only that he's doing it, but he's doing it to a level up here. And when I went to go see Foreign Exchange perform live, listen, that is one of the best live shows I've ever seen in my life. And I've seen everyone from KRS to Busta to Onyx. Fonte and the Foreign Exchange, when they were mixing songs by playing instruments, like they went from, I can't remember what song it was, but a Foreign Exchange song, they mixed it into a CC Peniston house song. Like, I can't explain to you how incredible this was to see live. And Fonte just led the band, and he led the crowd, and he performed every single song that we needed him to perform, and he did it to an incredible level. Like, this man is special, and I think more people really need to understand how dope Fonte really, really is. So I don't think of any MC that can do what I've just listed. For those albums that he's done, incredible. One of the best, like definitely in my top 5 for sure.
I feel you. Fam, I think I know your answer, but I would love to hear the word.
So to start though, Slack, I think the only other person who could do that, all those things,
is Ceelo.
Yeah.
I think Ceelo, and that's kind of why I had him there. But the albums is my word, and I am choosing Fonte. His percentage is insane. You know what I mean? And he hasn't missed for me. Everything I've heard him on has been dope.
Facts.
Yeah, I feel you.
Although, for Ceelo, with regard to a rap, like a solely rap solo album, does Ceelo have a dope solo rap album?
Does he have one? Probably not. No, he doesn't.
I don't think he does.
Because he doesn't break it up. Like, he's always singing.
He's all, yeah, right.
Yeah, and I think, so he does not have that on his jacket. I do think he has an aptitude for it, because Ceelo is nice. Like, and not a lot of folks talk about that, but Ceelo is actually like really nice. I would love to have heard him do a solo rap album.
I think another thing I love about Fonte is like what you just said, fam. Like, Ceelo meshes it all together. Tay separates his stuff. It's similar to what like Guru did with Gangstar and Jasmine Taz. Like, you never brought a Jasmine Taz album expecting to hear Primo. You know what I mean? And it's similar to what I always tell people gospel artists do. Where you may have one album that's a contemporary gospel song. I brought this CC Peniston, CC Winans gospel album, Everlasting Love, which was contemporary, and then her next album came out. I'm like at the store and I'm like, oh man, I can't wait to get this alabaster box. I put it in and I'm like, yo, what is this? And they're like, oh, that's praise and worship. And I'm like, well, I don't want the praise and worship. I want the contemporary. And it's kind of that's what I like about Tay, because I am like the lone person on the planet Earth who's not a big Foreign Exchange fan. It's not Fonte, it's just the beat wise. But I know when to jump in on the Fonte tip versus where Ceelo, you kind of like, he gives you the whole smorgasbord of it, and it's like, no, I'd rather you just say, yo, this is your rhyming album, this is your singing album, and then allow us to decide where we want to chime in.
Right, because you're going to be skipping a lot otherwise, isn't it?
Exactly. Porsche, what's your next one?
I don't know if this is going to be tough or not, but I got 1998 or 1994. Sorry, 1988 or 1994. Yeah.
88. Easy, and the word I would use is just classic. Is to me, 88 is I'm 14 at the time. I mean, I'm wide open to hip hop. I mean, long live the K. I mean, it's just too much. I mean, I think 88 is the dopest year of hip hop. But again, this is why I say I don't like to debate hip hop on the timeline, because we'd have to do an ID check, because I'm 48. I can't expect somebody who's 41 to say, 88. So, but for me, it's definitely 88. Just way too many way too many. Probably like almost 6 of my top 5 favorite hip hop albums ever dropped that year. So that's what I got. Fam, what you got for this?
I'm gonna go 94 for exactly the reason you said. Is birthday. Birthday is gonna be my word, because my birthday is 1979, which in 94 is gonna put me at 15, and 88 is gonna put me at 9. So you know what I mean. Mommy, can you blind me a Taste of Nation a million? Nah, I had to go back to that album. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So that's really the difference for me.
All right, no doubt. Slack, what you got?
Yeah, very, very similar to Fam. 88 is an amazing, incredible, groundbreaking year. BDK, BDP, Slick Rick, Rakim, and Eric B. Like, literally every album you could think of came out that year. But for me, 94, only because of the experience is the word I'm going to use, because I literally experienced these albums in real time. For the 88 stuff, my dad, my uncles, we playing, you know what I mean, Public Enemy all the time. I got a Public Enemy tattoo because of these guys, you know what I mean. I grew up listening to that, but I experienced 94. I experienced Redman albums and everybody else that dropped in 94. So I'm gonna have to go with 94. There Is a Dark Side, my favorite Redman album, dropped that year, and that album just meant so much to me, man. So I would have to stick with 94.
All right, no doubt. I'm gonna go to Easton. Don't worry about it. Go to Easton. Easton, what you got for that one?
Same. I think it's a brilliant comparison. But I'm gonna have to go with 94. Once again, it's only gonna be because of, and the word I'll use is impact, because more albums from 94 had a personal impact on me. Whereas for me, the albums from 88, classics as they are, that I'm looking at them as more of a cultural impact that they made. But the 94 albums had more of a personal impact, you know what I mean? The Gangstar, Nas, all of the 94 drops. So yeah, I'm going to go at 94 for personal impact.
All right, Porsche, what about you?
I'm going 88, and my word is groundbreaking. And for all the reasons that, I mean, you guys all mentioned in your explanations, I'll echo. It's just all of the albums that really defined hip hop and kind of brought and presented concepts and subject matter kind of were released in 88 and kind of carried over throughout the year. So for me, it's 88 all the way.
All right. What I wanted to do real quick was just for people watching. For 88, you had Big Daddy Kane's debut, Long Live the Kane. You had Strictly Business, EPMD's debut, By All Means Necessary, BDP sophomore album, Straight Outta Compton, NWA's debut, It Takes a Nation of Millions, Public Enemy sophomore, Critical Beatdown, Ultramagnetic debut, Follow the Leader, Eric B. and Rakim sophomore, Straight Out the Jungle, the JB's debut, The Great Adventures of Slick Rick's debut, Easy Does It, Eazy-E's debut, Off, Bismarck's debut, He's the DJ out in the Rapper Jacks, Jeff and Fresh Prince's sophomore, In Full Gear, That's a Sonic sophomore, Tougher Than Leather, Run DMC, their fourth album, Assault with a Deadly Pepper, their second album, one of my favorite albums ever, Girls I Got 'Em Locked, Super Love and Scene, Casanova Rudd, Rob Bass and Easy Rock, It Takes Two. So that's 88. And then for 94, you've got Illmatic, Nas's debut, Southern Playalistic, Outkast debut, Ready to Die, Big's debut, The Sunrise in the East, J. Rue's debut, Hard to Earn, Gangstar's fourth album, Stress, The Extension Agenda, Organized Confusion sophomore album, Blowout Combs, Diggable sophomore album, The Main Ingredient, Pete and CL sophomore album, There's a Dark Side, Red sophomore album, To Cal, Neff's debut, Resurrection, Commons sophomore album. I mean, just two incredible years, man. Just
definitely, man.
Two incredible years. I can't forget the Beatnuts Street Level, which was crazy. So yeah, Keith Murray's debut.
I just say right there, this is why I'm not impressed now. I'm not impressed.
I was thinking the same thing.
Because when you list those albums that came out week after week consecutively, one after the other, I was raised on steak. Like, don't feed me like pig right now. Like, don't feed me pig now. So I ain't gonna eat it. It's as simple as that.
Nah, I feel you. And then the hard part is too, man. And you know, we may have to do one of our every month or every other month. We try to highlight a year of hip hop. Because what I want to try to do is allow younger folk to kind of see how hip hop changed. You know, and I think 94 was one of those years where we got it back. And what I mean by that is between 88 and 94, we kind of dipped off, and you had New Jack Swing kind of, you know, stepping his foot in the door, and, you know, different things that labels were now saying, oh, you need a hip hop house song, or you need this song. I felt like 94, we kind of got it back for a minute, and it was like, nah, we doing it this way. Like, Illmatic is what everybody wanted, so it's like, okay, do what y'all want, you know what I mean? But it changes every year because, again, I always give the analogy, you didn't really have independent records back here, just for the simple fact you'd have to be a Master P, you'd have to be a drug dealer because you'd have to print it up on vinyl. Right. Now you can be an independent artist because anybody can get their stuff on iTunes, you know what I mean? But back in those days, you couldn't, and when you're on a major, I compare it to living at home with your parents. You got to follow their rules. You know what I mean? You don't have to pay. You ain't got to pay for your food. You ain't got to pay for electricity. You ain't got to pay for water. But you got to do what they say. It don't matter if you're 48. Your mom's may be like, nigga, I don't care. This house closes, the door closes at midnight. So I don't care how old you are. You got to be in here at midnight. And you can stay or you can go. But then when you go on the indie route, all the money comes out of your pocket. You know what I mean? So I think that was the hard part with hip hop, is that, you know, again, trying to give people the asterisk that's like, damn, you know, if the label's telling you I got to do 5 songs for the girls, then fuck, I got to do 5 songs for the girls, you know, because if I, you know, then when I try to get out the contract, then they're going to want to sue me. I can't afford a lawyer. You know what I mean? So again, like, that's the hard part I think about it. But I feel like 88 and 94, those are both years where we were just in control. We're like, they said, just go in the studio and do whatever y'all want to do. In 88, they didn't know how to market our music, so it was go in the studio and do whatever you want. By 94, they kind of knew how to market it, but because Nas, I think, blew up so much with Illmatic that it was kind of like, okay, we'll just do what Nas does. But then by the time Puff came around, then it was a wrap, because then it was not only did Illmatic blow up, but didn't sell no records, but now Puff is big, is blowing up, and he's selling records. So by the time 96, 97 comes, now it's like, no, my nigga, you gotta do a song with an R&B singer. You gotta do. I remember with Ghost, I used to give Ghost a pass because I'd be like, Ghost is gonna have one song that's for the radio. Like, I'm not even gonna pay no attention to this song with him and Carl Thomas. Like, whatever. You know what I mean? Because I know the rest of the album is gonna be Ghost. But, you know, it's just again, the difference between living at home and being out on your own. All right, the joint I got up. Y'all know I love some good Coke rap. Stove God versus Benny the Butcher. Fam is laughing. You want to go first?
Yeah, why not? I'm gonna go Benny, and the word I will go with is palatable. Benny. Benny is clearly very nice, makes great music, and he has that. Stove God's flow is so non-conventional. It just it's an acquired taste with Stove God, where you could just with Benny. So I think that's the case for me. Is just because I know I had a similar joint on my list. Like, I think there's gonna be a bunch of niggas because the argument I've been having consistently lately is pushing Benny, but like Coke rappers lately has been a very big argument in the circles that I'm in. That's why I was laughing.
All right, no doubt. Porsche, you ready?
No, I don't have a word. I know who I'm picking, but I don't have a word, so come back to me.
All right, Slack.
Love Benny, big fan of Benny's music. Tana Talk, and you know what I mean, Tana Talk 3 is like one of my favorite albums of the whole 2000s. So, but I'm gonna go with Stove, and the word I'm gonna use is sniper, because that man hasn't missed since he dropped Reasonable Drought, which is a 5 mic album, and I will argue that to the hill. That is a 5 mic hip hop album. He hasn't missed. Every feature, he's stolen the show. Every hook, he's stolen the show. And I think his career has been managed perfectly up until this point, to the point where he dropped his debut album and no one was really waiting on it. We knew that Rock Marcy was doing the beats, so people were kind of hype at that. But we weren't like, oh, we need to hit Stove God. We were like, okay, let's see what he's got. And the fact that his album was so good that it made all of us fans, it turned all of us to make whatever feature he was doing, we wanted to know what he was saying on there. And just the way, I love how Pusha can find new ways to talk about Coke, so it's not mundane, it's not boring. But Stowe is taking it to a whole new place where some of the lines he's got is just incredible, man. He's so funny, witty, intelligent. His hooks are so good. I just think his career, I think he's going to be hip hop's next star, man. Stowe. I think he's got it. He's got that star quality.
All right. Easton, what you got?
It's actually the hardest one, I think, so far. Because it's kind of contradictory. But I'm actually going to go with Benny. And the reason I'm going to say Benny, so I'm going to go with Benny and I'm going to say Time. Reason being is because Benny's been around a while now. I think we know that he can put out good work. Over time, he was kind of slipping down a little bit for me. I was thinking he dropped a lot of questionable projects for me. But I feel like he's, he's coming back up there for me. I think he's dropped some good quality in the last few drops. And obviously we know Stove is sick, man. He really is. But the reason I want to say Time is because we have one album from Stove, as excellent as it is, and a few really good features. But I want to see how he's going to be over time. Like Fam said, with being palatable. I'm not sure if we get a lot of projects from Stove. If we got as much project from Stove as we do from Pusha, I'm sorry, not from Pusha, from Benny. I'm not sure how that will be received. Because he is such an acquired taste, I'm not sure if it will begin to be boring or begin to sound the same or blah, blah, blah. So right now, where we are, I'm going to have to go with Benny. But I'm actually more excited to hear work from Stove, if that makes sense. But yeah, Benny.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. Porsche, what about you?
Okay, I got Benny, and my word is unexpected. And the reason I have that is because Benny sort of, like for me, I don't know about anybody else, but for me, I was kind of like maybe late to the Griselda, the whole, Benny, Conway, West Side Gun, everybody thing. But I feel like Benny sort of surprised me very unexpectedly. I don't like coke rap is cool, but there's a time and a place for it. So it's not like, subject matter I listen to at any given time. Kill, I know you kind of listen to Stove God all the time and Pusha all the time, but
keep in mind I also work in a drug infested neighborhood, so the shit is like my soundtrack. Like I'm sure if I fucking worked on Wall Street, I'd be like, all right, y'all, come on. But when somebody's talking about a crackhead and then I see a crackhead, it kind of just meshes for me. But
yeah,
again,
so for me, like Benny just kind of. I was surprised that I liked Benny as much as I did, and I'm even one of the people that, and I know I hear I don't really hear people talk about like BSF and all that kind of stuff, but I'm all about that too. So for me, Benny, and it's just completely unexpected that I kind of took to Benny the way that I did. Although I do love Stove God, I think he's very witty, very clever. Kill, you're always quoting Stove God's bars, and I think he's so quote heavy, and I absolutely love that. So Easton's right. This was a really, really good matchup because they're like a hairline away from each other, like a hair away. So yeah.
I gotta go with Benny, and the word that I would use. You used what was your word, Porsche?
Unexpected.
Mine was going to be surprise. I'll say Howard. And the reason why I'll say the Howard is because I was doing ticket giveaways with the Howard Theater here in DC. And I remember it was probably 2018 and Conway was headlining and Benny was there. And a lot of people in the crowd didn't know who Benny was. You know what I mean? Like Tana Talk 3 hadn't dropped yet. So I won't hold you. I didn't know a lot about who Benny was. Because for many people, Tana Talk 3 is like Benny's debut. You know what I mean? Yeah. But he had joints out, you know what I mean, before. And I remember nobody being there. I remember me and my man Salim damn near having to give tickets away to get people to come in. And then a year later, Benny is headlining the Howard. And I thought that was like fucking amazing. Like, how do you go in a year from nobody not knowing who you are to dropping Tana Talk 4, and now you're headlining, and we couldn't give away one ticket. Everybody, like, it was packed. So I would say to Howard because I love seeing a dope MC blow up. You know what I mean? Especially somebody who like I didn't know about, and I thought, Benny's all right. I never thought from that first time meeting Benny at the Howard in 2018 and 2022 he would be like where he is and be one of the top MCs that's in the game. But trust me, if we was on Drink Champs, I may have to take a shot because man, for a while my word was about to be Emerald. My word was going to be Emerald Agassi, because when that nigga said that shit, me and Emerald Gassi should be the next verses, 2 stoves side by side. I bet I work them. I was like, who the fuck is Emerald Gassi? And I'm like, this nigga's a chef. You don't remember Emerald? I was like, this nigga's a goddamn chef. I quit. I was like, it's over. It's drop the mic and walk away. This nigga just said him and the chef should be the fucking next verses, 2 stoves side by side. I bet I work them. I was like, I'm done. So I would probably have to take a shot if I was on fucking Drink Champs with that one. So I agree with you. Easton, what you got up next for us, good brother?
All right, I'm going to put crew against crew now. So DITC or BCC?
Oh, okay. Okay, Porsche?
No, come to me later.
Okay. I'm gonna just stop. Nobody think I'm being rude to my co-host. I'm going Boot Camp Click, and the word that I will probably use is originality, because when I remember seeing the video for Who Got the Props, I was like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like them with the backpacks and just I forget what were they in the Columbia jackets or whatever, and then seeing Who Got the Props. I mean, seeing that, then going to how many MCs when they like came into the projects. I think that's one of the most hoodest favorite videos of my life. Like them coming into the projects, then seeing Smith & Wesson with Bucktown and Helter Skelter with the voice. It just seemed all original. Like I had never heard anything like that before. So when people talk about lo-fi hip hop being this new thing, I'm like, nigga, Enter the Stage. To me, lo-fi is just dirt. Like you want the shit to sound dirty. You know what I mean? And it's it's kind of like how I felt about neo soul. I'm like, nigga, it's just soul music. It's really not neo soul. It's just soul music. D'Angelo, Maxwell, Erica, these are just soul singers. So, I'm gonna go with originality and Boot Camp Click. Boot Camp Click. Slack, what about you?
I'm gonna go the same as you, Kill, and I'm gonna say Boot Camp Click also. And the word I'm gonna use is debut. And the reason I'm gonna use the word debut, none of them missed on their debut. The Storm, Nocturnal, Enter the Stage, The Shining, incredible albums, classic albums, staples in hip hop. They can still tour with those albums to this day. Just an amazing crew, man. Big Sean Price was probably one of my favorite MCs just before he passed. Rock is hella underrated. Rock is such a dope MC. And I think people just don't realize how good that man is because he doesn't have a strong solo catalog, so they don't really check for his solo project. But you listen to the stuff this man says on the Helter Skelter albums, he is so good. Buckshot was probably one of my first favorite MCs from Brooklyn. His verses on Enter the Stage, just so dope all around. And OGC, Starang Wonder was my guy as well. So Strike was so dope. So they had such a crew of dope MCs, like top tier. But the Beat Miners, like we need to talk about the Beat Miners because
100%,
they were doing like what when Master P and come out with No Limit, and they just had their in-house producers, and they were literally just making everything for all the crews. But the Beat Miners were there like ages ago, just like the Bomb Squad, just making those disgusting beats for every crew to rock over. But every album sounded different. Enter the Stage didn't sound like Nocturnal. The Storm didn't sound like The Shining. You know what I mean? So all of them could have sounded the same and been kind of boring. Like, we've heard this before. But every one of them was different, and I think that is a testament to how good that they were.
Dope. What about you, fam?
I'm gonna go with Boot Camp, and the word I'm going to use is joints, because everybody out of every album, like you said, man, and they had joints that had staying power, that are hip hop standards, stuff that even skits that we still quote to this day. They did everything, man. They had joints.
Yeah. Porsche.
I thought I was gonna go with DITC, and then I heard Slack talking, and I was like, "How the hell?" It's so true. I have to go Boot Camp Click, and my word is just gonna be talent, and that's literally just across the board with all the MCs, all the projects that were put out. Again, every single thing Slack said, and I'm sitting here shaking my head like, you really changed my mind on that. Like it's just you guys said it. Very dope, solid projects coming out of that crew. So,
right. Easton, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna go at Boot Camp, man. I put this question out there because I thought about it today, and I did think it was a hard choice. Obviously, hearing everyone talking feels a little easier, but props to DITC, man. The reason I actually thought half would have went with those because when you think about the camp, man, they got so much classics in that camp. And when you're taking them away and doing their own thing, I felt with BCC, when they actually broke off and done their own thing, there was less success than there was in DITC solo efforts. But I think on a whole, I think you'd have to go with Boot Camp. And the word I'm going to use is probably just no compromise. It's just because that's the sound of Boot Camp. Nothing's compromised. Whereas sometimes the ITC can sound like there's a bit of a compromised sound in times, whether it's for hits or what have you. You don't get that with Boot Camp. It just sounds uncompromised, raw, rugged hip hop, man. And obviously Sean Price, like, you know what I mean, incredible MC that I hold very highly. So yeah, Boot Camp for me as well.
No doubt. Slack, what you got for us, good brother?
All right, man. I'm gonna try and see if I can set the cat amongst the pigeons right now. So I'm gonna go for 2 albums, and the first album is Common's B, and the second album is Talib and High Tech's Reflection Eternal.
That's a good joint right there. I'm gonna go with B, and the word is gonna be Cancun. I was in Cancun when I heard B, and I can't explain to you the excitement I had. Common was one of my favorite MCs from Resurrection to Like Water. Of course, I don't like Electric Circus. I've tried multiple times. Like, this is because I'm a fan of Com, so I'm like, okay, maybe my head wasn't in the right space. So like Fam said, maybe my expectations was too high coming off Like Water. Let me go back. I went back to that album more than I think I've ever gone back to any album, which is a testament to how much of a fan I was of Com. But I was like, nah, this nigga's dead in the water. He's in love with Medusa. It just is what it is. He's gone. So when I heard The Corner, I was just like, oh shit, he might be back. Then when I seen him do the food on Dave Chappelle, I was like, this nigga fucking just really might be back. And I'm in Cancun on vacation, and I got the CD with me, and I'm just like, yo, this nigga's fucking back. Like, the excitement of thinking somebody is done, like, I mean, you know, it's I don't know. It's like, what was that surgery that was taking everybody out in the 90s? Like Chris Webber had it, Jason Kidd had it. It was the surgery that was killing everybody.
The Achilles.
Achilles. Maybe that's it. That Penny Hardaway had it. Like, it was like, you never come back from this. Yeah, it was the Achilles. It's almost like seeing Kevin Durant. Because remember, Kevin Durant, people was like, it might be over because of the Achilles when he was in Golden State, and to see him come back and still be able to do what he's able to do, to me that was calm, because I really was like, it's over, it's a wrap. You know what I mean? And even he knew it when you're listening to B and he says shit like, heard The Corner, and you say that nigga's back. Like, that nigga knew he fell the fuck off. Like, that nigga knew he had fucked up. You know, he was Bill Duke in Men's Society. You know you done fucked up, right? He knew it. And to me, getting a hungry MC with something to prove with Kanye, who was probably the dopest producer at that time and point, was just magic in the making for me. So I gotta go with B. What about you, Slack? Oh, I'm sorry, Slack. You said it. I'm sorry. Easton, what about you?
Oh, sorry. Same with De La Soul and Common for me. They're in the same bracket for me. Not really a Common fan.
So you really didn't like the business. You really didn't like the De La Common.
No.
They like it. The fuck out of here. Keep it moving. We gonna pass right by that one. Get that out of here.
I can't even really put a finger on it, man. I was just never really gelled with them, man. But you know, I know he can rap. There's no doubt about that. But I don't like hearing him, man. So yeah, no comment for me. So that's gonna go over Eternal Reflection. But it's a dope album anyway. I'm not just using it because of that. It is a sick album. So yeah. Gonna go with High Tech.
And what's the word you use?
Oh, of course. Dislike.
Dislike. He's like, I'll make this real simple for everybody.
Dislike. Keep it real, man. I gotta keep it real.
Dislike. I don't like that nigga. That's the phrase, kill. Fam, what you got?
This might be the toughest one for me. Because my favorite song is on Train of Thought out of all of these. But I believe this one they bought No ID back around too for that B album.
Nah, it's all Kanye and Jay Dilla. It's all Kanye and 2 Jay Dillas.
Okay. Either way, man, I'll use Complete as my word when I go with B. The sonics to that album, the way he told stories on that record, the way he kind of fed everybody with the type of songs he made on that record, man, you gotta go deep. And I ain't gonna lie, man, it hurt me to pick against Kweli and High Tech. It's just one of my favorite projects, but B.
And it's a project I don't see talked about a lot on the timeline, at least on mine. I don't see a lot of people talk about Reflection Eternal's debut, which to me is a 5 mic classic. The first time I heard Move Something, I was just like, yo, what the fuck? Like, this nigga High Tech's on some next shit. And then I heard The Blast, and it just kept going from there. Slack, I'm sorry, Porsche, what about you?
I got B, and my word is comeback. And it's really for Kill what you were talking about in terms of just bouncing back after Electric Circus and coming back with such a, strong project. Like you said, Kanye was at the time amazing. You can't really complain about that. The quality of the album is amazing. B is one of Common's best albums to me. So I definitely Common.
All right. And you know what you made me think of, Porsche? This nigga really had to go get a whole new wardrobe again. Like, he really did all of that shit. Because that's some hard shit. Well, I guess it's not hard for a rapper, but for a regular nigga like me, when I went from like a XXL to a medium, it was like, oh shit, losing weight means I can't wear any of my old shit. Like, I gotta buy a whole new wardrobe. That shit is taxing on you. So that nigga really had to go out and buy, because he got rid of crochet sweaters and went back to the corner. So yeah, Slack, what you got for this one, brother?
I'm gonna go with B, and the word I'm going to use is Phoenix, because Common rose from the ashes on that one. Because after Big Circus, he was in the ashes for me. I didn't want to hear nothing about that dude. I was done with the dashikis and the kufis and the open toe sandals. Like, I don't ever want to see a rapper's toes, bro. Like, don't ever want to see that. So
I feel you, bro.
Yeah, so when he came back, and he sounded confident again on the album. So I think he had got rid of Erica. You know what I mean? I think that the scent had left his mind, and he was able to come back with a bit of confidence. So
the funny thing, bro, and I gotta find the person who can make this happen, because I really want to do 30 for 30s, but for hip hop. You know what I mean? Like, I want that 30 for 30. Like, what happened between Electric Circus and B? Like, but what I mean by like, is how did the breakup happen? Was Calm depressed? Did he call up Ye one day like, nigga, it's time? Like, because you just left the whole Soul Aquarians. Like, you were fucking with Soul Aquarians for like Water Like Chocolate, incredible album. Portia's favorite song, The Light, is on there. You have this album with them, then you come back with the Soul Aquarians, and then you just like, I'm always interested in how do those conversations happen. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, if we're the 5B production crew and Fam is the rapper, and it's time to go back into the studio, like, does Fam just not call us? Like, I'm not rocking with y'all this time. Like, those conversations. Like, how did that go from I'm not talking to Quest and Dilla, yo, Kanye, come through? Like, I'm just always interested in how that stuff happens, because it's almost like saying, like, we crew, but not this album. No, and maybe it's not a big deal to some people. It's like, okay, cool, yeah, go do you. It's all good. But I would love a 30 for 30 for that one. Fam, what you got?
I will go with something we kind of talked about earlier. It's two MCs. We talked about Method Man and who he is as an MC, and what he could be, but he has a handicap. An MC, I think, has the same handicap. Jadakiss. So Method Man and Jadakiss.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. I'm gonna go with Kiss, and I'm gonna say Versus is my word. Because I think after that Versus, I wasn't jumping out the window like all of Twitter. People were like, oh, he's the greatest MC ever in the history of the world. Like just slow the fuck down. Like, just everybody slow it down. Like, keeping in mind, half the shit we was loving was mixtape songs, which is fine. There's no knock. But I'm just saying, for me, when you talk about greatest of all time, we gotta talk about albums. Like albums to me are your playoff games. The mixtape, that's like the regular season. When you're trying to win a chip, I don't give a fuck what the Sixers do for 82 games. I could care less. When your team is trying to win a chip, the season starts when the playoffs start. You know what I mean? So for me as a fan, I'm always gonna say there's no knock on the mixtape, but that's during the regular season. You know, the album is the playoffs. So I gotta go with Kiss on that one. Slack, what about you?
Yeah, same, bro. I'm gonna go with Kiss, and I'm gonna use 2 words, and that's never missed. I've never heard Kiss spit a bad verse in my entire life. I'm sure all of you will be hard pressed to say that Kiss has spit a verse where you're like, yeah, nah, that was terrible, that wasn't good. I've heard Meth spit some questionable verses, but I've never heard Kiss spit a questionable verse. He's versatile as well. He's done R&B songs. He's done loads of mixtape songs, and he's just one of the best MCs. Always with the clever lines and stuff like that. Love Meth, but for me, I'll take Kiss all day long.
Bro, I was at 7-Eleven the other day and some nigga was bumping some Kiss I had never even heard. And I was like, just the bars. I'm like, damn, nigga. And here's the thing with the verses. I forgot he did the verses versus Fab. Like, I don't think there's been another person who's done 2 verses.
Ooh, yeah.
Right. You know what I mean? So, you know, you got that.
Piece, Fab.
Yeah. Easton, what about you?
You know, I'm going to have to go at Meth, you know.
Okay.
I agree with what's been said. I can't think of a bad Jadakiss verse. And they both, I think the point fans are alluding to is that they both don't have a classic, so to speak, a solo classic. But you know what? I was listening to the Rehab the other day. I even posted some of the lyrics up on Twitter. And the word, I keep forgetting the word. I'm going to go with consistency. Reason being is because I think Method Man has always been dope. I mean, I know we look at the misses on albums and like Slack mentioned, sometimes the verses you might think okay, but when you really listen to him, an impressive MC, like he'll say some lines. I listened to the same song 3 times last week off a new album, 2022 to 1993, and he made me shake my head and rewind it at least 4 or 5 times in that one song.
I gotta listen to this album. I gotta listen to it.
Yeah,
you know what? About this.
As always,
It's good.
As always, like his Achilles heel, his albums never make you be like, oh man, that's an amazing album. Like, I've never really listened to a Meth album and thought, man, that's incredible. This is gonna sound silly what I'm about to say, but when you kind of strip away the album and you listen to him, he's incredible. His flow, his cadence, his voice, the bars. There's so much of it that you'll probably miss because the album isn't that impressive. But as an MC, I think he's incredible, and he's getting better and better. He don't even swear hardly, or hardly at all. He stays on topic. I was listening to the track he done with what's Remy's husband's name again? I've gone back. Papoose.
Who I like to call the small piece of chicken.
There you go. Look. I said Remy's husband. So how?
Fam, my joke is he don't even get the big piece of chicken at the table. He gets the small piece of chicken.
I got it.
You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm gonna go at Meth Man. I think he's an incredible MC. He's only getting better. I know we always talk about age and it shouldn't be hip hop, and I fully agree. But when someone is consistently getting better, I think you got to highlight that, man. And for me right now, Jadakiss ain't that listenable right now. If Jadakiss dropped an album tomorrow and Meth dropped an album tomorrow, Meth would be the more impressive MC, in my opinion, on that album.
All right. Porsche, what about you?
I've got Jadakiss, and my word is personality. I think Jada's just got a very dope personality in general. It comes through on his songs, even in his verses, like performances and everything. He's just a likable guy. And then not only that, in addition to, I was restricted to one word, but Jadakiss is...
You don't do restrictions. What's your word?
No, like I just want to say he's also got, when he wants to be emotional on a song, he's very good at it. Like that Letter to Big track that he did actually brings me to tears every time I listen to it. And I just think, I mean, C's had one too. I didn't get the same from that. You know what I mean? So like Kiss has this way of, when he wants to, he can definitely like really kind of get through to listeners, and I really appreciate that about him. And as Slack said, not a bad verse ever.
Right. All right. Porsche, what you got up next?
Okay, I've got two MCs, Black Thought or Pharoahe Monch.
I'm out here.
Well, this is easy for me. Pharoahe Monch, and the word that I would use is, oh man, I would use. I don't even know what I would use. What I'm trying to say is, I don't even know what the fuck I'm trying to say. I'm gonna go. Oh, man.
Is that your word, Pharoahe Monch? Because
Yeah.
it's not Black Thought.
Yeah, he's not thought. How about that? That's my phrase. He's not thought. Oh God. You know what? I'm gonna just have to go with a word. I'm gonna have to do a lifeline and go with a song, and I'm gonna say Desire. Desire, when he says Pharoahe is a monic, only minus the A&R, and I mean, just an incredible song. Pharoahe to me just checks every box that I personally want as an MC. If you follow me, then you know I'm very big into storytelling. Thought is a very bar-heavy MC. He doesn't really tell stories if it's not about a girl. So that's just, and I was talking to somebody about the other day, and I said it's kind of like, if you're a boxing fan and you like seeing niggas get knocked out, then you really don't like Floyd Mayweather like that, because that's not his style of fighting. You know what I mean? So again, it's no knock against Thought. It's just that's not my favorite style of MCing. Like, it's just bar. Like, here's 158 bars coming at you at 130 miles per hour. That's just not my thing. Whereas Pharoahe is gonna give you Simon Says and different things. He's got the joint, the trilogy, where he's talking about the girl, his man fucking his girl, and how we beat out 40 seconds. Like, I just feel like Pharoahe, every album he has something about gun violence. So Pharoahe to me is just like the quintessential MC who can just give you everything. I mean, I know people may not really think of it like this, but Simon Says was really a club banger. Like, when Simon Says came 100%. Out, you know, that was a club banger, you know, and I know the Godzilla sample kind of screwed him over and everything like that, but that was a banger. Like, so I think Monch can do it all. And so I didn't mean to say easily like that, but it's just like, if you want to see somebody get knocked the fuck out, saying Tyson versus Mayweather, it's a no-brainer. It's like Tyson, you know, but it's no knock on Floyd. But if you're more into the calculated fighter and you don't mind a decision, then Floyd may be your dude. So I just always, because people always like, yo, how you like Thought? You from Philly, you got a beard, all that other shit. Here's the great thing, y'all. I can be from Philly and have a beard and not be the biggest fan of someone, but I love Thought. Again, I tell people all the time, don't make me break the shit out. I have millions of fucking Root CDs. So I've purchased every album, even the ones I don't fucking like, because of what they've done for my city. So unless you can match my CD collection and show me you put your money to where your mouth is with swallowing Thought, don't say shit to me. So I always like to put that out there for the thoughters, the deep thinkers, whatever. Fam, who do you have, Thought or Monch?
I'll go Monch, and the word I'll use is dynamic, which actually is the word I was assuming you were going for, is that he just does more. He does more things. Thought is a sniper, man. He will kill you with raps. He will, shout out to my brother Mav, he will over rap from time to time. Monch will give you a break. He'll sing a hook from sometimes, and he will kind of give you where he'll play with the flow more so it's not as heavy as, all right, I gotta listen to this bar, I gotta listen, let me run it back, I gotta listen to that bar. You know what I'm saying? He gives you more to kind of eat off the plate instead of just steak.
You know, the funny thing what you said about that, it makes me think about going back to the Fonte conversation. Pharoahe may be able to do that. Like, I know Pharoahe really isn't a singer. Like, he probably can't give you a whole album of singing.
I don't think he can give us an R&B album.
Yeah, but My Life with Styles is one of, and his hook is like, you know, crazy. Even the joint he did with God, didn't he do something with Fonte when he was singing the hook?
Was he singing?
He was Black Hand Side. Whose song is that? I think it's the Black. Is that his own song?
Styles? Ain't that Styles record?
That may be Styles again. So he has done some hooks from time to time. So yeah. All right, Slack. Who do you got? Monch or Thought?
Yeah, I'm going out with Monch. As a pure MC, I don't think you can go far past Black Thought. That man can rap his arse and tits off all day long. But when it comes to listening to an album, concepts, like some of Pharoahe's concepts are just absolutely insane. Even from him talking about from the perspective of a gun before I heard Nas ever do it. And just incredible. Like you said, versatile with the singing and the hooks and the stuff that he talks about. Clap is one of my favorite Pharoahe Monch songs. Incredible.
And the video was crazy. The video for Clap was just crazy. And when he's literally just rapping over claps as well, like I haven't heard Fort do anything like that. Fort can write a concept album. Undone was a concept album, but Monch can give me that on an album, and then give me a club banger like Simon Says, and then give me a song like Clap, and then give me a song like Desire. And Thought just doesn't do that for me. As I said, as a pure rapper, brilliant, amazing, top of the class, A+. But I'll just have to go with Monch because, like everyone else has said, he can just give me more on the album. Right. Easton, who you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Pharoahe Monch as well, and the word I'm gonna use is just technical. Reason being, I think technically, I think he's probably one of the best rappers of all time. But I'd really want to give a shout out to Black Thought though. Like you said with the Mayweather example, is brilliant. You know, it takes a lot of skill to fight and not get hit. Do you know what I'm saying? But like you said, if you want to see someone get knocked out, you're not going to think of it. And it takes skill to do what Thought does. You know, I know he never really hit a lot of people's radar until he done the his freestyle. But come on, man. We all knew how dope he was from the beginning, and he's a brilliant MC. I want to say though, he sounds more effortless than Pharoahe Monch does, right? Yeah, when you listen to Pharoahe Monch rap, it sounds like he wrote that and learnt it and blah blah blah. Pharoahe Black Thought just seems like an effortless MC. Like it's no effort for him to do that. So I want to give him a shout out for that. But yeah, I'm going to go with Pharoahe Monch just because technically I think he's incredible. And like we've all said, man, he can really hit you from different angles, different concepts and different things. And he's exciting, man. So yeah, I'll go with Pharoahe Monch. But yeah, good comparison.
All right, Portia, you got?
Pharoahe Monch, and my word is alien. And the reason for that is, I mean, that's the word I feel like we all use to describe Pharoahe. And it's because he does like elite lyricism, elite level rapping, and has the ability to do it in a very clever way and do it differently if need be anytime. So I feel like and to echo what everybody said, like Pharoahe is just one of those MCs that can do it all at a very, very high level and kind of never misses, really. And I love his word choices. I think he's so good with words. He has such a good command of English. He doesn't need to, jam in like 25 million words in one beat section like he doesn't, like some other rappers do. He just is great at it.
Yeah. Yeah, and one more quick thing, because people swear I hate Thought, and it's not that. This is what happened, y'all. Thought that first joint he had with Ninth Wonder. What was those EPs called? Streams of Thought. Streams of Thought came out. No News is Good News by Fonte came out, and Royce's Book of Ryan came out, all around the same time. And when I heard Thought, I just heard an MC who's just still rapping. When I heard Book of Ryan, I heard an MC that's still rapping, but still able to tell you stories and still able to pull you in. And I'm like, wait, like, what happened next with your father? Oh shit, he punched you. Like, yo, I'm on the edge of my seat, and then I put in No News is Good News, and I'm like, oh, this nigga is talking about black men and their health, and he's talking about this, and he's talking about raising his sons and getting divorced and getting remarried, and then I go back to Thought, and I'm like, and you just still rapping like that? That's it. Yeah. And I think it really hit me then, because again, it came out when two great stellar MCs, Fonte and Royce, came out, and they were giving me so much more than what Thought was giving me. And it's not like, I mean, like Fonte, what's the song? I Will Fuck You Niggas Up. It's like the first song.
So Help Me God.
Yeah, So Help Me God. He's letting you know, don't get it twisted, y'all. I could bar you to death. Don't get that fucked up, but I can still give you this.
Right.
Yeah,
Then I
that's
put
what
in
they say.
streams of thought, and I'm just like, all you're giving me is this. And it's not even then like thought took away, like, okay, damn, I saw what my contemporaries are doing. Let me make this stream of thought 2 be better. Well, no, kind of was I'm just still doing that, which is cool. It's just, that's just not it for me. Like, I want more. I want the knockout. So that's it. Porsche, I know you gotta go early, so why don't you give us another one too while we're here?
Okay, this one, I hate to do this, but I thought just for the sake of dialogue, we would. 2 MCs again, Guru or CL?
Yo, let me explain something to you while you're my little sister. You can see that right there. You got, what does that say? CL versus Guru. Like, it was literally right there.
Wow.
Oh, man. I'm going to say Guru, longevity.
Wow.
Pete and CL and Primo and Guru, to me, they follow the same wavelength. You know what I mean? You got the dope producer, you got the dope MC. They both had their crews. You know, if things would have happened the way with CL's label, we would have got the D.Baby Par, which could have kind of been in competition with J. Rue, and then we would have got the I&I that kind of would have been in competition with Group Home. And so they literally were like on the same trajectory, but it just didn't work out. And with Guru, I mean, we got Step in the Arena. We got No More Mr. Nice Guy, Step in the Arena, Daily Operation, Hard to Earn, Moment of Truth, The Owners, and even this last one that came out. So even if we ended with The Owners, we got 6 Gangstar albums, and we only got 2 Pete and CL albums. Which says a lot about those 2 albums, because we still compare the 2, which is kind of crazy that we're comparing a group with just 2 albums to a group that had 6 albums. But that's just a testament to how great those 2 albums were. But I'm gonna go with Guru for longevity. Fam, who you got for this one?
I'll go with Guru, and I guess my word is catalog. It's just more to pick from. I think the best song out of all this to me is Troy. So even though that is at the top of it, it's just so many joints with Guru on it. You know what I mean?
Funny thing you just said, fam. I wonder. And it's a testament to how great those 2 albums are, because I'm wondering if we just get Step in the Arena and Daily Operation, do we still talk about Gangstar the way we do? We do.
Those albums are 5 mics. Like,
I agree, but I don't know. I don't know.
We had No More Mr. Nice Guy before those 2. So we
I'm gonna give No More Mr. Nice Guy the pass we all give Mobb Deep, for Juvenile Hell. You know what I mean? And it wasn't a bad album, it just wasn't up there. I don't know, because that means we don't get Hard to Earn, Porsche, which means we don't get Mass Appeal. We don't get Moment of Truth. We don't get any of that. Not saying I love Daily Operation. It's my personal favorite Gangstar album. I love it, but I just don't know if all we have is Step in the Arena and Daily Operation, and then they break up. Are we talking about them the same way we are, because I feel like most people's it's Hard to Earn a Moment of Truth. Those are like, to me, like they're bigger albums, Matt. To me, people knew about Gangstar. You could like hip hop and not be a head and know about Gangstar with Mass Appeal. Like, Mass Appeal is just their shit. You know what I mean? So, but and it's almost like Troy was Pete's and CL's shit just from the door. So they was coming out the gate with their biggest song. So I don't know. Just made me think about when fam said that. Slack, what about you? Who you got, Guru or CL?
It's gonna have to be Guru, and that's simply because there's more. That's my word, more. More albums, more songs. Jazzmatazz on top of the stuff he did with Gangstar. He's been on more features. CL doesn't even do much features, so we've literally only got the 2 albums with Pete Rock, and then he's done was it American Me? That he came out with as a solo album. That wasn't that good, to be completely honest. So we just didn't have much CL to go on, to be honest with you. So I've just got to pick you on that alone, and of course the voice.
Yeah. Easton, what about you?
I mean, I'm gonna go with Guru as well, and it's just to echo what everyone said. This is just more. I actually prefer CL's voice over Guru's. He was on AZ's album, I think A-Raw album, and I loved his verse on that and this track on that. So I would have loved to have heard more solo from CL or more features. And to go back to what you were saying, Kill, I think if it was only those 2 albums against those 2, I think Pete's production was better than Primo's on those two over Gangstar's first two. But over time, Primo for me is a better producer for me over time. So it would have been a really interesting discussion before that. But yeah, I'm going to go with, and the word I'll use is going to be catalog. Yeah, because there's stronger catalog.
Great point, Easton. I think it will probably even be better if we did Daily Operation and Hard to Earn, because we're comparing those years. So we're comparing when Pete and CL came out with that. Yeah. And I think if you do Daily Operation and Hard to Earn, then yes, we are still talking about Gangstar at that level. You know, so great point with that. Porsche, what you got?
I got CL, and my word is underrated. And I just think that CL Smooth, like, I totally understand and agree that there's not enough material to pull from, but I think that, like, sometimes with MCs, groups, whatever, when the catalog is limited, you have to take into consideration the weight of the tracks and the albums that they do have in comparison to somebody or a group that has way more to choose from, because there's more sort of like to fall back on. So for me, it's CL, and I think CL is wildly underrated for what he did. Those two albums back to back are 5 Mic classic albums. Like, that is very, very difficult to do. Gangstar couldn't even do it, right? Their debut wasn't the best. So, you know what I mean? Like, out the gate, and then a sophomore joint, and that's all we get. I'm good with that. I think CL and Pete both did. I think they both did equal in those two albums, and I don't think one carried the other. And I really, really love that chemistry. I think it's extremely fine. So for me, it's CL very easily, and my word is underrated.
All right, Porsche, I know you gotta get ready to go, but I got a good one. I think it's a good one. Could be a good one. So I want to get it in before you go.
Okay.
I got 2 songs. What's the Scenario remix versus Check the Rhyme?
Okay.
Porsche, what you got?
I got What's the Scenario remix, and my word is, I'm going to reuse a word, unexpected. Again, I feel like that track was just kind of out of the blue how dope it was. And I don't think anyone really expected it to be as dope as it was, to the point where we're still talking about it. And it's still one of the remixes that's like probably on I would say like a top 5 remix of all time. So yeah, that's what I'm saying.
All right, no doubt. You got a dip right now?
I do. I'm sorry.
Right.
I do.
No. I got started late, so I apologize. Porsche, let them know where they can get at you.
Just on Twitter at Sharshila Porsche, and we do Twitter Spaces Tuesdays at 6:15 p.m. Pacific time, 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I don't know what it is in European time, in England time, but yes, join us. It's great, dope convos. Kill always starts some stuff, and then we always sort of talk about it, and it's always great convos. So yeah, join.
All right. Good looking out, sis.
Really dope seeing all of you. Great conversations.
You
I
too,
love this show. Take care, guys.
Let's take care.
All right, fam, who you got? What's the Scenario or Check the Rhyme?
I'll go with Check the Rhyme, because it doesn't require the caveat of being a remix to be great. It's Check the Rhyme is just a hip hop standard. It's like, god dang, you know, I don't know, one of these songs that every nigga sings. Like, it's just a hip hop standard. So I think it's standard listening if you are considered to be a hip hop band.
All right, no doubt. Slack, what you got?
I'm gonna have to go with the Scenario remix, and the word I'm gonna use is mind blown, because the first time I heard that song, my mind went to Mars or somewhere, but it left the room for a while, because hearing the Busta Rhymes verse, the Flack verse, the Charlie Brown verse, all of it, and just so memorable. You still know every single word to that song to this day. I know we all probably know Check the Rhyme too, but when you heard that Scenario remix, it just blew the ground off, like just killed everything. Check the Rhyme is a brilliant, amazing, timeless hip hop classic song, but Scenario is just something different, man. One of the greatest remixes in hip hop, period.
All right, Easton, what you got?
Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Scenario remix. And yeah, I'll just say, I might use the word already, but it's exciting, man. No, I'm gonna go with captivating. Because the first time I heard it, yeah, I was just like, it was one of those ones where if it came on, you always had to sit through the whole song. Like if it came on the telly or if you heard it somewhere, you kind of stop what you're doing because you want to hear the song finish, you want to hear all the verses and that. So yeah, man, it was exciting. So I'm gonna go with that. Even though I love Check the Rhyme, but yeah, I'm gonna go with something.
Yeah, the reason why I picked these joints was because I wasn't a fan of Tribe when People's Instinctive dropped. And like I explained to people on the timeline, when I say I'm not a fan, that doesn't mean I didn't like his shit. It just meant I'm not like, oh yeah, when's the new Tribe coming? You know, I didn't know what the fuck they was talking about. You left your Wild Now Segundo, y'all was dressing weird. It just wasn't my shit. When I saw the video for Check the Rhyme, I was like, oh, these niggas got on jerseys and, you know, they around the way again. Like, it really made me become a fan of A Tribe Called Quest. But the What's the Scenario remix, and the word I'm gonna go with is hood and kidhood. Because when that shit, first of all, everybody loves Scenario. The whole rah-rah like a Dungeon Dragon, like, so it was like the remix, like, dog, you can't top the first one. And when it was like, yo, and he goes by the name of Hood, Check the Rhyme. I mean, again, I've always been like, yo, one of my big what ifs is like, what if Kid Hood didn't die? And we get a Kid Hood debut album produced by like a 91, 92 Q-Tip. You know what I mean? Like, dog, that's like a Low End Theory to Midnight Marauder Q-Tip. Like, those type beats. That's the Apache's Gangsta Bitch Q-Tip. That's like, you know, the Foo Schnickens, you know, I'm a true Foo Schnick. That was a Q-Tip production that a lot of people don't know. But like that album could have been crazy. And I loved it because it was like, dog, Kid Hood did not sound like no native tongue nigga. He sounded like some Wild Out Keith Murray, raise under your tongue type nigga, you know, rhyming up here with the leaders of the New School and Tribe. So I'll go with that joint. Easton, what you got up next?
Okay, so Alkaholiks or the Beatnuts?
Whew, damn, man. You shoot low, man. I love both of them, but
this is dope.
I gotta go with Corona, and that's the Beatnuts, the Corona Queens. Bro, this album right here, man. The summer. Oh no, it's street, bro. When this album dropped, bro, I'm in Philly. It's like the summer of '94, '95. I can't remember. All I know is I said, when I get back to Morgan, I don't give a fuck if I gotta rob a bank. I'm getting me an SP 1200. This is the album that pushed me over the top to always be like, yo, I like making beats, and I'm gonna go visit this studio and make beats. I heard this, I was like, nah, I don't give a fuck what I gotta do. I'm getting some studio equipment when I get back to Morgan. So my word is Corona for Corona Queens, where the Beatnuts are from. Slept on producers. Never the most lyrical, but I always loved them. Like I always loved Juju. That nigga said, bury that ass where God won't even find you. Like it wasn't nothing super duper lyrical, but it was just always like, yo, that's an ill line. Like, yo, think about it, I'm gonna bury you where God won't even find you. You know what I mean? It's like, come on, man. And then I just always loved, I was dating a shorty at the time and she owed me some money. And they had a joint called If You Owe Me Money, You Better Find That Shit. That was my answering machine for a while. Like, I literally was like, if you owe me money, you better find that shit, because niggas is dying quick behind that shit. So, Beatnuts, man. Slack, who you got, man?
Oi, Beatnuts and who was the other one?
The Licks.
Alkaholiks.
The Licks.
It's the Licks, baby. It's the Licks.
I'm gonna have to go with the Licks. And the word I'm going to use is Tash, because Tash is a highly dope and also highly underrated MC. One of my favorites. Never sounded like he was from the West Coast, the way that he used to rhyme. He always reminded me of like a West Coast Redman in his kind of styling, the stuff that he was talking about, his humor. So I always had a lot of time for Tash. And kind of the difference between him and J-Ro, like Tash was so off the wall, in your face. J-Ro was a lot more kind of just more kind of laid back, but still in your face kind of rhymes. 21 and Over, dope. One of the dopest debut albums. To follow that up with Coast to Coast, starting off with a Madlib joy with that intro with the loop pack. That was so. I still know every word to that intro. I played that song so. To have King T on there.
These two albums right here, coming back to back to that, bro.
Yeah,
crazy. Underrated. Alkaholiks are underrated, man. They've got so much.
Yeah. And again, man, everybody says Tash is underrated, and I agree, but J-Ro's underrated too, man. When that nigga said, you can't bust this, you got a bad name like Dick Butt Kiss, like, I miss those simplified days of hip hop when you didn't have to be this lyrical ninja that had 50, different flips of a word and all the double, triple entendres where you could just rap. You know what I mean? Like, you know what I mean? And I felt like, we said, fam?
Simplicity is very popular right now.
Well, yeah. Yeah, you're right. You're right, but I feel like it's so much. Oh, you hear the triple, quadruple entendre, and he flipped the word 5 different ways, or whatever, which is dope too. But again, coming up in the '80s, you had your Rakims, but then you had your Kid and Plays. Like Kid and Play weren't lyrical at all. Kwame wasn't super lyrical, and everybody just and that's why I always tell people it was so great about '88 and the late '80s. Everybody fucked with everybody. You could have an NWA, Kid and Play, Salt and Pepper, Jazzy Jeff, Too Short tour. Like, come the fuck with NWA, fuck the cops. Too Short is fucking everybody, but then you got Kid and Play with Getting Funky and the Kids Play Kickstep. Like everybody, and they all liked each other. Like that would be the thing. I'd buy the old Right On magazines, and you see Ice Cube hugging up on Salt and Pepper, hugging like it was just. True. Yeah, it's like that's what we don't have. Like the equivalent of that would be like Benny the Butcher, Griselda, and Chance the Rapper doing a tour. Like it'd be like they're two totally different crowds. Like, but it didn't matter because back in those days, if it was a hip hop show, you went, and whoever was on the headline, you did. So, but fam, who you got? The Licks or Beatnuts?
I'll go Beatnuts, and my word is production. You know what I mean? Them niggas. You know what I mean? They gave you what they gave you musically with themselves, but you got niggas like Curious and Constipated Monkey is one of my like low key favorite albums that nobody ever talks about. You know what I'm saying? That's my joint. You know what I mean? I
why I brought this album? Cause the Beatnuts. I saw Uptown shit. The Beatnuts did it.
Gosh.
I remember going to the store and niggas being like, "Yo, you buying that Curious shit?" Like, nigga, one word for you: the Beatnuts. There you go.
And the album is hard. To be honest, that album is hard, man. But yeah, man.
Top notch. I'm curious.
It's funny that I found both these groups the same way. Hadn't heard of them. Loved the album cover. Cop. You know what I'm saying? And that was 21 and over. And maybe Stir Crazy? Nah, it couldn't be Stir Crazy.
No. That was 97, I think, that one.
It was definitely Tapes. So it was the black and what was the black and white with just the logo on the front?
Street level.
Yeah,
so I saw the cover. I was like, oh, this looks like some ill. Let me go ahead and grab it. I'm down the gallery in Baltimore, and I copped, man, and I was not disappointed, man. And I think there's a Beaten Up Method Man record that is making the TikTok rounds right now, and that's just joints that.
Oh, I know which one you're talking about. It's got like a Spanish title though.
Yeah, Sacabo.
Yeah. And this joint is a very slept on album too. Musical Massacre,
yeah, man.
Watch Out Now, which is probably my favorite Beatnuts song, and the joint Beatnuts Forever, which is just fucking incredible. So yeah, dope pull Easton on that one. Slack, what you got for your next one?
Okay, let's go back to 1993, and we're gonna go with Back the Fuck Up versus Here Come the Lords.
That's a good one.
Two MCs,
fam, you go.
one DJ.
You go first, fam.
I'll go Onyx, and my word's gonna be energy. I think that's fairly self-explanatory. I love the energy of that, man.
Yeah. All right. Easton, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Onyx, and the words just raw. It just felt like just totally. It was just raw, man. I'll never forget when I first heard Slam, and then the singles, man. It addictive, man. Love of Ceelo in the Underground, but yeah, back the fuck up, man. Incredible album. Yeah, Onyx.
I'm gonna go with Bald Head and go with Onyx, because after Onyx, I think every nigga at Morgan except me shaved their head. And I was like, oh, I'm not shaving my head. I don't know what the fuck my head looked like under here. So yeah, we not gonna do that. But literally, like, Throw Your Guns came out, and like the next fucking day, everybody was bald, and it was fucking amazing. Like, niggas was just, I'm like, y'all really love hip hop. I love it, but not that much. But so yeah, I'll go with that joint. What you got, Swag?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go back the fuck up as well. As imagine like a 12, 13-year-old kid hearing Throw Your Guns, getting in the moshes in hip hop with Slam. Then Shifty came out. When I saw the video for Shifty, man, and the thing I really loved about Onyx was waiting to hear Sticky Fingers verse. So you hear Fredro, you hear Sunsea, and then you're like, what is Sticky gonna come out of his mouth with on this verse? Because the way he'd be starting his verses was just crazy. The way he started his verse on Shifty, I'm a B-boy, and then for Slam, I'm a B-boy standing in my big boy stance, and come on. Every verse, he just set it off absolutely crazy.
For real.
Yeah, the beats as well, just absolutely crazy on the album. So yeah, man.
And then the thing I loved about Throw Your Guns, and I mean, it made me love it even more, was when Primo started cutting up, because we started some shit on Come Clean. Yeah. Like, that just made me love it even more. Like, that scratch just went perfect with Come Clean. Do y'all remember the Hood Rats? They were the fake Onyx.
I think I do.
It's so funny, because those were the days of hip hop when certain labels were trying to get into the game and they didn't know what to do, and they would just bite. Like when you had the Flatliners that was like the fake grave diggers, and then you had the Hood Rats that were like the fake, Onyx. And people don't talk about it because they blew up and they were actually bigger. But truth be told, labels signed the Fugees based off of Diggable Planets blowing up. It's like, oh, two MCs, two guys and a girl, we need that. And then they tried to replicate that again with City High, and it didn't work. But that's where hip hop was kind of, and that's what I'm trying to do with these year shows that we do, is kind of show how that would have been so frowned upon. Like, nigga, we the grave diggers. How you gonna come out as the Flatliners? Or we Onyx. How you gonna come out as the Hood Rats? Like, you couldn't have Public Enemy and then have another group that's coming out with like, a deep voice nigga and a little silly nigga to the side. Like, it'd be like, bro, like, you ain't even getting no deal. Like, we wouldn't even sign that shit. But in 94,
the youngsters would try to sound like Onyx as well, because the youngsters.
Let me explain.
We boys, ABC, let's play hot scotch, and then they come out with Wild Child, and I'm like, what's happened here?
Yo, we just talked about MCs who changed their styles, and which style did you prefer? So, like, did you prefer Ruck to Sean P? Did you prefer Zev Love X to MF Doom? And I was like, yo, the youngsters from my hometown were like the hip hop chameleons. They were like you said, when they first came out, this is a little something for the youngsters. They was on that ABC shit. Second album, I turned on the video for motherfucking Cruise Pop, which is still an amazing song to this day that we all know Treacherous. But it was just like, y'all niggas are bald too? Like, y'all are bald? And then they became the Illy Philly Funksters, and they had dark fades again, and then they was from Philly. They were like, whatever y'all need me to be, I'ma be. You want me to be from Jersey and be bald, I'll be that. You want me to be from Philly, get a dark fade for a hip hop ride, I'll be that. But they do have a dope song. I think it was called Bloodsport with Mobb Deep. I know they have a song with Mobb Deep that's very dope. But I can't remember if they were the youngsters or the Illy Philly Funksters, which was a horrible name. Like, whoever came up with that name. The Illy Philly Funksters, So, but you're 100% right. They definitely were. Fam, what's your joint?
Yo, Hood Rats was you bootleg, you get your legs broke, right?
Yep. You bootleg, you get your legs broke.
Yeah. I'll go with who had. You know what? Nah. Let's go with personality list rap. Elzai versus Lupe.
Right.
I'll go Elzai. And I'll just say lyrical. I mean, I know Lupe is lyrical too. Don't get twisted, but Elzhi to me is do I want to go with Elzhi? Damn, that's kind of hard, man. I'll stick with Elzhi and say lyrical. I never thought Elzhi, what he did with Illmatic, I thought was amazing, because when I heard he was redoing Illmatic, I personally think that shit is whack. I don't think there's any place in the world in hip hop to make cover songs. I'm not a fan of it, but the way that he was able to do it with the live band, which I think really shifted it for me. Like, it really, like, Will Sessions deserves a lot of props for the backup band for that. And I mean, how they would go from Life's a Bitch and go into, the Gap Band's Yearning for Your Love. I mean, it was just an incredibly put together album. But I haven't been a big fan of Elzhi's albums outside of that one, production wise, because we all know he could rap. But I think after a time where a lot of these dudes, we know you could rap, but can you make good songs? And I equated to like N1 Ball. Like, nigga, we know you nice. We know you got a handle. We know you the Bone Collector. We know you can cross over it. But nigga, can you make a college team? Can you make the league? Like, that's where I'm always at, where I know you can rap, but where's the album? Because that's, to me, what we're going to hold you to. Like, nobody is talking about Stevie Wonder's fucking mixtapes, or I mean, I know he didn't have mixtapes. I'm just saying in general. It's like when we're talking about the greats, we're like, look at Marvin Gaye's albums, look at Michael's albums. The albums really do mean something. So I'm gonna go with Elzhi. Easton, who you got for this joint?
Yeah, I'm gonna go with Elzhi as well. And the word I'm gonna choose is just connection. I never did connect with Lupe. Can he rap? 110%. But I've just never really been into him. I've checked one or two of his albums out, and I don't know. There's a miss there. There's a something that don't connect for me there. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Elzhi. But as we said, Elzhi is dope lyricist from Slum Days to now, what have you. He don't really miss. So yeah, I'm going with Elzhi.
All right, Slag, who you got?
I'm going with the best rapper out of Detroit, and that's Elzhi. For his albums, I must say, his album are 7 times down, 8 times up. That album is a 5 mic album.
What album is that? I haven't heard that one.
That one is the one he did with J.R. Swift's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 7 times down, 8 times up. That album right there. If you're not impressed by that one, Kill, I'll be very, very, very surprised. That album is incredible. So,
all right. And that's my guy. JR is my guy. So I know the beats are crazy.
I'm telling you, the beats on that album are... I keep telling J.R. Swift on the timeline as well. I'll tell him all the time, bro, you did something very special with that album. His bass lines, and you get the feeling like in those beats. You know what I mean? Like a lot of producers can make beats, but they don't give me that feeling. I asked on the timeline the other day, if I said, do you know what the feeling is when I talk about hip hop? And people are like, yeah, I totally understand. And they'll talk about the first time they heard this song, how they felt. That album right there, the first song, it's just brilliant. He tells great stories as well. He's got the song potential, amazing. G.O.D. You're gonna love G.O.D. Kill.
I'm gonna check it out tonight.
So yeah, Elzhi, I think he's an incredible MC, because he can put words together and he doesn't make it boring, and he makes you want to listen to what he's saying. Yeah, he engages you. That's the word I'm going to use for him. He's engaging. I want to hear his stories. I want to hear how he puts words together. He's an elite rapper, an elite MC. I've never heard him washed on a song ever. Lupe, I don't care. Just don't care about Lupe, man. That's the only way I just couldn't care less. People be like, oh, but look at how he flipped this, and I'm like, all right, he can probably open a can of beans with a sword. I don't care.
He said open a can of beans.
I'm not interested in what he's got to say. It's like, I'm just bored.
Yo, the crazy thing about that, bro, is that's why I'm always on the timeline saying music speaks to us all different. Yeah, 100%. And it's one of those things that I'm like, instead of fighting over it, we should be happy about it. Like, I don't really fuck with Cormega like that. Porsches love Cormega, and I'm like, yo, that's dope. I'm glad that there's a dude out there who is living his dream, because if we all hated Cormega, now this nigga ain't making no money. He's still robbing niggas. So I don't get offended when people don't like what I like. Like, I'm like, that's to me, that's the beauty of it. To me, the game would be whack if we all was singing fucking Kumbaya, sitting around liking the same shit. It's like, yo, it's dope that because I'm with you. I like the first Lupe album, but then he kind of missed me after that. Like, it was never. I always say Lupe is like, because y'all know I equate everything to food. Lupe is like when you go out to a restaurant with your girl and y'all try it, and the food isn't bad, but you just never go back. When you're hungry again, you're never like, hey, let's go back to the diner. Like, it just never comes up. It wasn't bad. It just wasn't good enough that when you're hungry again and you want to go out, that you're ever like, but then there are some restaurants that you're like, nah, I got to taste for that cheesecake again, or I got to taste for that again, or something like that. Again, not that the food was bad, and that's how Lupe was. I love the first Lupe album. I mean, he's got one song. What is it? We Could Be All Right. Some shit where he's just doing lyrical trips with the wordplay, but it just really didn't speak to me like that. So, but I because enough people I know that are high elite lyricists respect him, and the people I know who are hip hop heads who really fuck with hip hop lyricists respect him. I'll sit back and say, hey, I'm sure he has something. It's just not for me. You know what I mean?
Right, exactly.
Fam, who do you got?
I'll say Lupe for the simple fact that he has an album I think is a classic in Food and Liquor 1. I thought Food and Liquor 1 was an amazing project that is what a great album should be. It checks all the boxes, not just great raps, it's great hooks, it's great features, it's great songs, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's what's really missing out of Elzhi's catalog is like a classic verse hook structured songs. Like, we love his raps, but give me a complete like single.
The joint I was talking about, Just Might Be Okay. Like, that joint is man, I remember one day just listening to that the whole entire day because it was so crazy. All right, the last joint I got a couple, but for my last one, I'm gonna go with MOP versus Mobb Deep. And whoever wants to go first.
I'll shoot it out then. I'll go with Mobb Deep. And the reason I'm putting the word I'm going to put is ranking. The reason I'm using that word is because if I look at my favorite groups, Mobb Deep rank high. Yeah, but Mobb Deep, Wu-Tang, and MOP are actually my three favorite groups in hip hop. So it's a good comparison for me. So for that reason, I'm going to go with Mobb Deep. But MOP's catalog is insane. Their feature catalog is insane. Everything there on their connection with other producers as well. Obviously with Primo, it's like probably Primo and MOP have the best chemistry and probably out of everyone who Primo works with. But there's Soul Goons projects, there are other things they've done with other people, the features they do. Lil Fame production himself. I mean, MOP is incredible, man. But for me, Mobb Deep, because Hell on Earth and Infamous, those two albums probably rank higher than any MOP album for me. But yeah, so I'm gonna go with Mobb Deep. But yeah, great comparison.
No doubt. Fam, who you got?
Hey man, I'm gonna go Mobb Deep. The word I'm gonna use is run, as in probably one of the greatest. I won't say the greatest, but one of the greatest 3-album runs of all time with, the infamous Hell on Earth and Murder Music.
All right, Slack, what you got?
This one is very tough for me, man. Maybe just to go left because everyone else has gone right. I'm gonna say MOP, just for the simple fact that I could put MOP if we keep to the death, because we probably won't keep Juvenile Hell. But if you measure both of their 4-album runs against each other, MOP is not far off Mobb Deep at all.
That's a solid run.
That is a crazy 4-album run. And the other part of it is, I don't think people appreciate how dope Fame and Dan's are with the bar. Both of these guys are crazy MCs. When I was listening to Follow Instructions a lot, to the point that my son must have been about 7 at the time, and he was like, "Dad, play that song again." Like, he loves that song. And when I was listening to Billy and he's talking about his alcoholism on that song, he's like, "I hear voices and I still get the blinky lights and I'm still suffering from alcohol abuse, and any beef I ever had, I never call the truth. So I was like, come on, man. Like, people are listening to what these guys are saying on these tunes. MOP are just an incredible group to me, and I think people overlook them because they're loud and they're in your face and they're aggressive, so they overlook what's being said on the verses, and they just listen out for the ad libs or the hooks or whatever. But what these guys are actually saying in their bars is sick. And Fame producing, Dan's dropped a project that is still sounding good to this day. Verses as well, so yeah, man, they're still doing it. Obviously, I love Mobb Deep, but like I said, I could literally have them neck and neck when it comes to their runs. Although Infamous and Hell on Earth are probably the top 2 out of the albums. If you look at it as a collective, as 4 albums in a row, it's going to be very difficult for you to split them. So yeah, I've got to give their props on this one, man.
Right, no doubt. The word I'm gonna go with is real, and I'm going with MOP because them niggas is real as it motherfucking is. I don't know anybody else who has been with G Unit, with Rockefeller, and nobody has said a word. When you leave G Unit, you know 50 got something to say. When you leave Rock, you know somebody. You don't say shit about MOP. I have never heard anybody use a disparaging word about MOP at all. Even when they jacked me for a beat, I was shook to be like, damn, do I want to even say these niggas jacked me for a fucking beat? I'm like, god damn, do I even want to bring this up on the internet? You know what I mean?
You said now they washed.
Yeah. But I mean, sure they credited you for that beat though, didn't they?
No. I mean, and again, that's that is when I always tell people make lemons out of lemonade. And I'm always a believer of everything happens for a reason. Quick story, because a lot of people haven't heard because I don't talk about it a lot. I'm driving home. I love MOP. I'm driving home, listening to the Foundation album. It starts off with Here Come the Pain. And I'm like, oh shit, they use the same pain in the ass skit I used. And then the beat starts playing. I'm like, no, that's my beat. That's not, oh, they use the same sample. They use the same skit. No, that is my beat. Those are my drums. And this is 2000, maybe 11, 2000, I can't remember, 2009, 2010. 2009, there was a show in Baltimore. It was Joe Budden's, Terminology, Big Suge, and MOP. And I went there and I said, I am going to make sure these niggas get a beat tape. Like, I had 20 beat CDs on me. I saw their van. I left them shits under both windshield wipers. Like, I saw their security. I made sure everybody had a fucking song. Everybody had a beat tape. Went home 2 years later, so it's 2011. And it's on the tape. I called my man Mills, like, yo, this shit is crazy. Somebody stole my beat and sold it to MOP. That was my first thought. Like, somebody stole my beat and sold it to MOP. He was like, nah, I'm on some website right now. It says Fizzy Womack did the beat. And I'm like, damn, MOP stole my shit? So at the time, it was this hip hop site called Kevin Nottingham that people were real big on.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So I went on OK Player and I posted it. And it was so funny because my man, and then I went on Kevin Nottingham and posted it in the message boards. And my man was like, yo, you know this shit is gonna, like, people gonna see this. And I at that time in 11, I only used the internet for fucking Hotmail. Like, that was it, email. I was never on Black Planet. I wasn't on MySpace. I wasn't on anything. And literally the next day I was on the phone with MOP and Lazy, their manager. And it was like, yo, we fucked up. You know, we thought it was one of Fox's, who was like their other manager. We thought it was one of her producers, and then Fame hit me and everything like that. And it was like, niggas like, oh, you should sue MOP. I'm like, nigga, you fucking stupid. I'm not going to be the fucking nigga who sues MOP. Like, you know, and then on top of that, it's MOP. This ain't like fucking suing Jay-Z. Number two, I can't afford a fucking lawyer. People love telling people to sue somebody. Right. Like, I just got money laying around. Like, oh yeah, here's $500 an hour so we can sue. But I mean, it was cool. And again, the reason why I'm saying everything happens for a reason, because from that, everybody started getting at me like, yo, where's your music at? We want to hear more. That's what got me on Twitter. That's what got me on social media. That's what started We'llMakeBeatsForFood.com. If that situation never happened, I'm probably 5 years behind where I am right now. You know, and it also showed me how many people get beats stolen from them, because hundreds, and I'm not even fucking like trying to blow that number, hundreds of people were like, yo, such stole my beat. I was in the studio with such, they stole my beat. They stole my beat. They stole my beat. So And it really helped give me a jump start on Twitter, because like I'm just getting on Twitter and having like 3,000 followers from the door, because it's like, yo, these person, you know, that really was just upsetting to see that, like, damn, this many people be getting their shit jacked. Like, you know, you hear it sometimes. You be like, yeah, like you always will hear a no-name producer saying Timbaland stole my shit, or I was in the studio with Dre and he stole my shit. You know, but I mean, some of your favorite rappers and producers were stealing beats. And it was just like, damn, word. You know, and I mean, this was from all.
I won't say who, but shout out to the homies, Anakin and Vader, who are getting some of your favorite, I guess, soul music placements right now. They definitely got jacked by some of our favorites, and it's records that we know. But yeah, shout out, man. I completely understand.
Yeah, and it was just fucked up to see, like, damn, like this is the norm, you know. Yeah. And it was dope to me because this is the one situation that got worked out. Like, Fame got online, said I didn't do the beat, Kill did the beat, it was a mix up, I would never steal a beat, woo woo woo. Nothing else to my knowledge has ever got worked out. It's just like Dre stole a beat, Dre don't say shit. Timbaland stole a beat, Timbaland don't say shit. So I'm gonna go with MOP based off of realism. I no disrespect to P, but there were questions about his street credibility. You know what I mean? And with MOP, there is no question about the street credibility. There's a video of them on YouTube walking through Brownsville, just fucking bootleg stands, like just flipping them, like nobody saying nothing. This right here, Fire Squad, fucking incredible.
Favorite MOP album.
This right here, First Family for Life, fucking incredible. You Come Back with the Warriors. This shit was fucking incredible. G Building. Ooh, step in the ring and I break that ass up like Mills Lane. How you like? Oh my god, this shit a lot of people don't know about. Marksman Cinema.
Marksman, yep, I remember that.
This right here was a dual CD. Yo, let me explain something to y'all about this. The Money Got Lost, Bloody Murder Here Today, Going Tomorrow. If you have not heard the Marksman Cinema, this is what you gotta check out. So I'm gonna go with MOP, and my word is realism. Easton, what you got for your last joint, bro?
Also, I'm gonna use a song, so I'm gonna go with Ghostface Killer's 1 versus Sean P's 1. Song for song.
I'm gonna go Ghostface 1, and the word would be Juju, because Juju from the Beatnuts did that joint. I just remember hearing that shit at EA's production studio and just listening to it loud and just being like, yo, this shit is crazy. Like, Supreme Clientele, like, it's just, again, it's like what I thought Cal would be. Like, the way that 20 years later we're still talking about Supreme Clientele is like, that. It's just a perfect album. I mean, a perfect album. And it's just one of those things where I don't think a lot of people look at it like that. Like, I feel like with Low End and Midnight, that's always a legitimate discussion, you know. And I feel like the other album that mirrors that is Mecca and the Soul Brother or Main Ingredient. You know, I've always seen those four talked about. But I think Iron Man, I think most people have Supreme Clientele so far ahead of Iron Man. I think for me, just coming off of Iron Man, I was like, how can he top this? And he just knocked it out the box with Supreme Clientele. And maybe that's why we don't see the comparison. Because, of course, I do think Supreme is better. But I just remember being like, I don't know what this follow-up is going to be. Can Ghost do it? And Ghost, I mean, from when you hit play and just the whole Iron Man skit, and then it just goes into just, yeah. So I'm going to go with Ghost.
Iron Man. I'm in the minority there, but I think Iron Man.
I know a lot of people who do. I think they're both 5 mics. I just think I think for most people, Supreme is just a much better 5 mic album almost. Like, if we give it 6 mics, I think most people would give it 6 mics. But it's the same thing with Low End and Midnight. They're both 5 mic albums, you know, but maybe Midnight spoke to you better. Maybe Low, you know what I mean? So it's just depending on how it speaks to you that day. Slack, what you got, good brother?
I'm gonna have to go with 1 by Ghostface, and for the same reason, my word was gonna be Beat, because I was reading about the first time Ghost heard that beat, and they was like, Riz was like, how is he getting that one? Yeah. So the beat is crazy. Ghost is obviously crazy on the album, and just to echo what Kill was saying, man, for him to come back as strong as he did with Supreme Clientele, nobody would have put Ghostface as the face of the Wu-Tang Clan when they came out. Although I was listening to 36 Chambers the other day, Ghostface sets that album off and he goes off crazy.
Yeah,
definitely. But still, he wasn't the star of that album. You go with Deck, you go with Def, you go with Jizza. But to hear him come back after Iron Man was just nobody here, if you're telling the truth, would have expected that from him, or for him to be the man who's delivered the most solid Wu-Tang catalog out of every MC in that clan. Ghost is one of my favorite MCs of all time. Yeah, and I love the other version as well, but this one is just head and shoulders above it, in my opinion.
Yeah, we were just talking about that on 5B. Like, how ironic is it that Sean P, who's the most unlikely person from the Boost Camp clique to keep them ahead, Ghost, the least likely person from the Wu to keep them ahead, both ended up being like, you know, the Stone the Builder refused almost. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like these were the two dudes that nobody could probably care about the least. You know what I mean? And they're the ones holding the flag for both of their crews. You know what I mean? So yeah, definitely, man. It's crazy. Fam, who you got on this one?
I'll go Ghost. Delivery, I guess. It's neck and neck, but one stands out is as like a song, and it's, you know what I'm saying, as part of a. I think it's you know, a dope album is the sum of its parts, and this is one of the parts you can't take away from Great Clientele, and it'll be the same album. So yeah, I'm gonna go Ghost. Right. I mean, D Lover, Ayo D Lover.
Yo, bro, that accent just killed me, man. Bro, I'm like, yo, did nobody else hear this shit? Like, was everybody on the set deaf? Nobody wanted the. Okay, cool. Slack, what you got for your last one, bro?
Okay, let's go with a song. So we're gonna go with 93 Till Infinity versus Passing Me By the Far Side.
Oh my god.
1992, 1993, Far Side, and Souls of Mischief.
I'm gonna go with 93 to Infinity. My word is gonna be perfection. I just think that is the perfect hip hop song. The beat, the rhymes, the flows. Just, I'm still amazed that beat was made in 1992
Me too,
or 91. Like it sounds like somebody could have made that beat today. And the different flows, the different deliveries, just everything about it. Pass Me By is a great song. I mean, I don't know how many people have said that in their rhyme, like passing me by, or you know, saying something to that in their bars. But 93 to Infinity was just on just another just hip hop perfection for me, man. Easton, what you got for that?
Yeah, same, man. I was gonna say perfection as well, so I'll just say the Superior, man. It's one of those tracks where it just doesn't go wrong ever. Not one verse, not one MC, not one beat. It's like nothing's out of place. It's just almost like a perfect hip hop song, man. The feel of it and everything. I mean, shout out to my daughter. She's 20. She loves it. Do you know what I mean? So she even a thought when that song was out, and she loves that song. She plays it a lot. So it just shows you, man, it's transcended. It don't matter, and I still think in 20 years time people will still be talking about it the same way. It's a perfect song, man. So yeah, I'll go with 90. Did I even say the song? Sorry, I'm talking about a song I didn't even say it. 93 Till Infinity. I'm sorry.
Right. Sam, what about you?
Hey man, 93 Infinity. The word is feel. I can feel the sun beating on my head like
100%.
While I'm walking with the headphones. You know what I'm saying? I just left out the house. I watched the video on Rap City, then I'm walking back up the block with it on my headphones with my Discman. It's just a feel to that song that you're instantly there when you hear that first note. You know what I'm saying? So feel. Yeah, 93 Till Infinity.
All right, Slack, what you got?
Yeah, same, man. 93 Till Infinity. The word I'll pick is Apex, because I think that song is at the apex of hip hop. It's among the greatest hip hop songs ever recorded, as far as I'm concerned. Like Kill said, man, that beat. I think I put up a tweet and I said something along the lines of, "God must have made this," because you literally couldn't put it together any better than it has been. For it to transcend hip hop, like people who don't listen to hip hop will love that song. One girl that I was checking for, the whole reason we got together was because she knew every word. The song came on in my car. She started rapping along to it, and I was like, "What?"
You're like, "Yo, will you marry me?" Like, what the fuck? Why
you
know every word of 93 to Infinity?
I'll pull over at the nearest shop and I'll get you the ring.
Right, like, why are we bullshitting? Like, yo.
Right. So for that song to kind of just be so universal, and for every MC, because it can't be easy for that crew, the way that they kind of interplay with their verses, and the way that the video kind of flips when each person comes in and they kind of wipe the screen, and it just literally everything, the video, the raps, the bars, they just felt like a crew. Do you know what I mean? And you couldn't say that there was one standout person either, because every one of them had a different way of delivering their bars, which was so good. So I can't say Opio was best on that one, or Tajay had that. They were just all just here, like it was just literally perfectly in sync.
Yo, I don't know if y'all saw the High Road documentary, but if you haven't, watch it.
I haven't seen it.
Very, very dope documentary. Like, and I won't even hold y'all. I'm not even the biggest High Road fan. Like, you know what I mean? I thought Dell was cool. I thought Casual was cool. I love Souls of Mischief. So I'm like a casual, not the rap, I'm really using the word, a casual High Road fan. But after watching that documentary, that's why I think hip hop documentaries are so important.
Agreed. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, sir.
Because it was the same way with the Beastie Boys. After License to Ill, when Paul Boutique came out, I really wasn't a fan. Check Your Head, I really wasn't a fan. But after seeing that Apple Music documentary, like, it just made me go back and just listen to even more. That's why then these documentaries are so important, not just for the youth, but for me. Like I said, I'm of age where the Beastie Boys were there, but you fall off of music for a certain reason, for whatever it was. I mean, I'm a kid when License to Ill came out. Rhyming and Stillin', Paul Revere, that's a whole different sound than Paul's Boutique. When I heard Paul's Boutique and Hey Ladies, I was like, yo, what the fuck is this? Where's the Rhyming and Stillin'? Where's the Paul Revere? Not understanding at that time they're not on Def Jam anymore. You know what I mean? Like, as a shorty, I didn't know any of that stuff. Right. It just wasn't. It didn't taste like what it used to taste like. That cheesesteak spot I went to, cheesesteaks don't taste like that no more. So I don't go there no more. You know what I mean? But seeing that Apple Music documentary on the Beastie Boys and starting this book, which is like 8 million pages, I'm still like on page 50. And then the same thing with this High Road documentary, seeing how they came together and the crews and Casual, like, oh, they brought me to battle. They're like, it just made me fall back and not even back in love, but made me fall in love with that crew, even at 48 years old. You know, so if cats watch and haven't seen it, please, I think it's on YouTube too. So I mean, it's a very dope documentary. Fam, who do you got on this one? Oh, you said
that speaks to what you said earlier about being happy about people having differences of opinion, because music is contextual. If you don't have the emotional attachments that we have to certain moments because of certain records, because of our moments in life, it's like, oh well, when I met Shorty in '94 and I booked, like the night I had 5 girls numbers at the mall, you know what I mean, I was listening to XYZ. That contextualizing is gonna lead to a better understanding of why we have different opinions.
Definitely. Right. Definitely. Slack, who you got, brother?
Yeah, 93 Till, right?
Yeah.
93 Till. Perfect. Right. Apex.
Apex, right. I'm sorry, you said that. Fam, what's your last joint, bro?
Oh man, I had a bunch of them. I'm gonna go with one that's kind of weird. You know what I'm saying? Just because I knew the connection. The connection is naughty. It's Rotten Rascals or Milk Bowl.
Okay. Wow. I'm gonna go Rotten Rascals, and I'm gonna say WEAA because that was my first interview at Strictly Hip Hop.
Cool.
Yeah, it literally, I was in class. Ray, who was the program manager at the time, paged me, and this is 93. So again, people watching, cell phones weren't invented yet, or they were invented, but I wasn't rich enough to have. You had to be rich to have a cell phone in like 1993. Like, he paged me in class, like, yo, Rotten Rascals at the station, need you up here ASAP. I was like, fuck this class, and went straight to the station. And they were literally my first interview. They was cool as shit. You know what I mean? So I gotta go with Rotten Rascals for that. The word is just WEAA. Easton, what you got?
I'm gonna have to go with.
But Milkbone was the shit. Milkbone had that song, that Keep It Real song. That was crazy.
Keep It Real.
That was crazy. So I don't want to front on that. That was a very dope joint. But Easton, what you got?
Yeah, Rotten Rascals. I know it's 2 words, sorry, but I'm gonna go with Poverty's Paradise. Because Rotten Rascals for me, I think they've done great work on that Poverty's Paradise album, 95. A lot of standout collaborations on that. I think it's Kick Out. Some other ones, they're gone for me now, but yeah, I thought they were hard on that, man. It's working. A couple other tracks, man. It was on the album quite a lot, and I really enjoyed their features, man. So that's what made me check them out more after that. Whereas Milkbone, that as hard as that song was, I never really checked much more out. So we'll go with Rotten Rascals.
All right, Spike, what you got?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go for the Rotten Rascals too. If I remember rightly, their debut album was Rotten to the Core.
Yeah.
I bought that album just off the off chance, just because I used to buy literally everything. Because we would just hear a single, right, and we just have to be like, I'll take the gamble and see if it's any good or not. I bought it on import, on cassette from Just for the Beat. No Longer There, Tottenham, North London. And I played it through, and I was like,
now, bro, let me pause for a second. When you said you brought it as an import, so were CDs more expensive? Were certain CD how did that work?
So usually, if it would be like a mainstream release, so like a Bad Boy, a Def Jam Universal, or a Death Row, like a mainstream album,
right?
Then that'll be maybe like up to maybe £15 maximum at the most expensive stores. At the regular store, it'll be like $10.99.
Right. And what's £15 to our money over here?
So when I will always be in New York, back in the day, the difference was a lot different. So if we're looking at it nowadays, it'll probably be like $19. Sorry.
Okay, $19. Okay.
Yeah, about that. So yeah, listening to it, I thought these rhymes are real basic, but the beats were nice because it was KG on the beats. So in and around 95, when he was doing Poverty's Paradise, it was that same kind of KG sound. So the beats were really nice. Some of the songs I really liked. I think they had about 5 or 6 songs on it. A lot of the like kind of old 80s kind of samples. The sound that he was using kind of with Jean A for Hey Mr. DJ, that kind of bounce to it. But yeah, the rappers weren't good, man. The rappers were not good. But the beats were nice. So all in all, as like a 14-year-old kid or whatever I was when it came out, it was nice to play in the background. But yeah, it was dope. So yeah, I'll pick the Rotten Rascals.
All right, fam, and who you got?
You know what, man? I love that Rotten Rascals album, but man, my words can be singles, man. Where the Party At was my joint, so I'm gonna go with Milkbone right there, man. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. Now, for people watching, do your homework, find out about Milkbone. Because here's the thing, and I'm always explaining this to folks. A lot of times in the 80s and the 90s, you only got a 12-inch single deal. You know what I mean? Especially in the 80s. You would get a 12-inch deal. If it did good, they give you another 12-inch deal. So a lot of great MCs, a lot of great songs, that's all we got from them. A lot of people were, really dope songs. And even if they got an album, maybe they only got one deal. Like I always talk about Trends of Culture, Off and On. Off and On was huge when it dropped. You know what I mean? But then the album really didn't pan out. And the same thing with Blase Blase. Danger, when the East was in the house, that was huge.
That album's hard,
well, I mean, I think the album is hard, but it never had any really follow-up.
It didn't have anything.
You know what I mean? Like, you just kept getting Danger remixes. You had the Primo Danger remix, then you had the Danger remix with Smooth the Hustler. So, it kind of just stayed with that thing. But, there's a lot of dope stuff from the 90s, man, that just, like Fam said, that it was just singles, you know what I mean? So again, it's always hard to compare the eras of hip hop just because I think so many things have changed. And I always just want to be fair. One thing I'm always like, we got to be fair. So that's why, like Easton, when you were talking about Gangstar, Ceelo, and Guru, I'm like, well, let's be fair then. Let's do Yearly Operation and Hard to Earn versus that time period right there, because that's not fair. Because No More Mr. Nice Guy is Primo just bringing the samples to the engineer because he didn't even have equipment yet. So that's not fair to put that Primo against a Pete Rock who already knew how to use the SP12 because he was fucking with Eddie. So it's like, let's make it fair. So again, it's hard because you got to make it fair. And back in those days, sometimes you only got a single deal, or maybe they dropped you after the single. You know what I mean? So you know, it's hard to say. Dope show, y'all. This went much doper than I could have ever thought it would have went. I was like, is this a good idea, bad idea? We'll find out. But I knew I had the right people up here. Fam, tell them all about Where's Buffy, Black Wrestling, everything. Where can they get at you? All that good stuff, bro.
Hey man, IlFam79 on your social media choice. Way more importantly, at Where's Buffy every single week. At Black Wrestling, where I am currently the predictions champion. You know what I'm saying? Every time it's a pay-per-view, you know what I mean? We select, you know, who's gonna win the matches. And right now, I be knowing what I'm talking about. Separately, me and Sister Loli got something else coming very soon, so follow Something Else Pod as well, man. And that's really it, man. And follow me, man. IlFam79. I think I follow all your brothers already. So, yeah, man, it's dope. Thanks for having me.
No doubt. Slack, E Major, tell them everything about Man Knows Hip Hop, where they can follow y'all, everything.
Sweet, man. First of all, thank you as always for having us on again, man. Much appreciated. Had a great time. You can find myself, Slack, and my guy, co-host extraordinaire of the Man Knows Hip Hop podcast, E Major. We're on Twitter at MKHH Podcast. I'm at Slack Supremacy, and my guy is E Major, as you can see. So yeah, hit us up, man. Follow us and check our podcast out when you can.
Yeah, man.
Right,
100%.
no doubt.
Man. Appreciate the invitation as always. Good time here. Yeah, man. Follow us, Man Knows Hip Hop weekly podcast. Just run with us, man. Roll with us. Have a bit of fun, a bit of banter, bit of discussions. Eastern Major on Twitter as well. Yeah, we're here, man. Much love to all, man. Appreciate the invitation as always.
Man, always. You already know what it is with me. Kill 889, Twitter, IG. We'll make beats for food. Me and my man, What Up Vern, is about to drop our album next Monday, Juneteenth. I Don't Mind. 10 joints produced by yours truly. It's fucking crazy. I'm even giving money back guarantees. If you don't like it, I will give you your fucking money back. Like, that's how much, you know, I believe in this joint right here. So, you know, definitely check that out. And I will check y'all next week, y'all.
Right about here, ladies and gentlemen, I want you to get yourself and your soul together. This man will make your liver quiver.